falling down. He throws to the end zone. It's caught. Touchdown.
WBZ-FM at HD Boston. 98.5, the Sports Hub. A Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Winnipeg Jets scored 4 unanswered goals in the third period to snap a 2-2 tie. They beat the Bruins 6-2 at TD Garden last night. Elias Lindholm's shorthanded goal off a faceoff tied the game 11 seconds into the third, but Mark Scheifele's second goal of the game untied at 35 seconds after that. The Jets were off to the races in front of Joe Sacco.
You know, for 41 minutes or so, I thought we played okay. We gave up some opportunities, but we had some opportunities too. You know, for us to just, it's frustrating because we make it 2-2, they come down. Okay, so they score on the power play, it's 3-2. That happens, but then we gifted them on the fourth goal.
As of this morning, the Bruins are 1 point behind both Tampa Bay and Columbus for the 2 wildcard spots in the East. They host the Rangers tomorrow. Charlie McAvoy returned to the lineup for the Bruins last night. He was a -3 for the evening, but before the game, he was named an alternate captain for Austin Matthews on the USA team that'll compete in the Four Nations face-off next month. Team Canada GM Don Sweeney named Sidney Crosby his captain. Celtics open up a 3-game road trip in New Orleans tonight. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 7:30 and the tip-off at 8 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Sam Hauser is questionable again. Al Horford is probable. For the third straight year, Jaylen Brown was added as a reserve for the Eastern Conference in the All-Star game last night. Former Celtic and current Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier is under federal investigation. This is in connection with his part in a game between Charlotte and New Orleans in March of 2023. The Baltimore Banner reported yesterday Ravens kicker Justin Tucker has been accused of inappropriate behavior by 6 different massage therapists. He is denying these allegations. Patriots are reportedly going to hire Colts assistant defensive backs coach Justin Hamilton to help their defense. And former Patriots defensive coordinator DeMarcus Covington is the new defensive line coach in Green Bay. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by 128 Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric, the company that finishes every job strong. If your home or business has a plumbing, HVAC, electrical, or drain issue that can't wait, you need to call 128 now at 888-CALL-128. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app. The 98.5 The Sports Hub app.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher.
Fred Toucher on Instagram. Follow and see dog humping videos.
And Hardy.
I'm going to withhold sex.
On 98.5.
Hello.
Hey there.
Yo. Can we use this for a ram? What? Let me hear you say, oh. Na 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 na.
Crush me, mommy.
Just not enough booty to go around?
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the toe. I'll chase you around a little bit.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Instagram.
I want to dip it in. What?
Toucher and Hardy.
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fun.
Having some fun.
On 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go. For this passport.
On in. We are Toucher and Hardy, Tom Fair Tire Studios, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. Simply search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. You can see us live, and then if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can watch this show again, but you won't get the conversation that happens. There's clips of all the 98.5 shows all day, and Joe Murray is live on YouTube in the evening. I'm not being sarcastic. There are, for whatever reason, people that ask me for book recommendations. It's probably, if you took emails that weren't insulting, they would be the second most amount of emails I get about something. I'll ask you this because I don't know if you were in town while he played here. He played 1 game here. But have you ever heard of the hockey player Brant Myers?
I have not.
No.
See, Brant Myers was an enforcer.
Okay.
He played for 1 game for the Bruins before I moved here. He was he's 51. Now, he was in 2002, 2003, he played 1 game. He was drafted by Tampa Bay. He spent some time there. He spent some time with Philadelphia, some time with San Jose, the Capitals. But, we're talking about 5 games here. He made a lot of money.
I'm looking at the 1 game he played for the Bruins. Guess how many penalty minutes he had in that 1 game?
How many?
31.
Yeah. So,
Sounds high.
Yeah.
It's more than I thought.
31 penalty minutes in one game.
but he has a book out called Painkiller.
Okay.
He became a big alcoholic drug addict. It's phenomenal. Like phenomenal.
Really?
Like the book. Yeah. And it's not, he writes it like for people that don't know hockey really. Like he explains who Wayne Gretzky is in it. Like, but that's better. And the guy who writes the foreword makes a really good point to the book is that, have you ever read a biography about someone who succeeded at everything? Like that like a sports star? You haven't, right? Well, maybe that you're smart then.
No, because I mean, I'm sure I've read other books by wildly successful people, and they're boring.
That's the point.
Yes.
Like just some book about a guy, it's unrelatable and it's completely boring.
Right.
Like breaking down like every game you played in, you had no, like the things that were in your life that were hard to overcome, or like a coach was mean to you. These are terrible. Those are terrible books. They're just boring. The great books about music. It doesn't matter how good a musician the guy was. The great books about music.
Yeah, I'm reminded of, and I don't know if this totally fits, but for some reason I think like the Paul Simon like authorized biography.
Yeah, you hate that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love Simon and Garfunkel. I love a lot of Paul Simon solo albums, but he's such a dick, and it's like, yeah, I started writing hit songs when I was like 12 and never stopped.
Yeah,
and just just one, and then split up with Garfunkel. Then I was even bigger as a solo artist. So I'm like, okay, where's the struggle here? Other than that time you couldn't find anything to do for 15 minutes in a train station in Europe. It's like not quite enough.
Well, that's the thing about the Tom Petty book. Is there was a Tom Petty biography that he endorsed, like it wasn't written by him, but it was like with his blessing. And the guy who wrote it was just a guy in another band that was a huge fan of Tom Petty's. Yeah. And Tom Petty had like a lot of problems, like big heroin addict and like died young relatively. Yeah. Like there was like a lot of stuff there. And the guy literally says in the book, I don't want to get too much into his heroin addiction. And you're like, well, great.
Okay.
So anyway, we all agree, like a great life story is, your track up, then, the pitfalls and the problems and the self-sabotage in a lot of cases that happen, and then kind of you would like a redemption at the end, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's kind of the wave of I would contend even a great life. That like if you don't have any obstacles that you overcome or any like mistakes that you have to overcome, it's I don't know if that's like the most interesting life in the world. So anyway, this guy is very honest about everything, and he's Canadian, so he says cranking tunes and stuff like that, which I enjoy. And oh boy, was he irresponsible. He just kept getting arrested.
So what's the name of the book?
The name of the book, let me look one real quick. Its name is Brant Myers. The name of the book is Painkiller.
Okay.
It was a bestseller in Canada, but it's really, really good.
It's really interesting. There are so many hockey players that you see that were great in juniors. They scored 40 or 50 goals in juniors, and then they figured out, okay, I can't do that at the next level. I have to find a way to get to the NHL, and that's by fighting. This guy, and I'm just looking at his hockey DB page here, he was always a fighter. I mean, from like year one, like 300 penalty minutes when he was 16.
Okay, so yes. He at 17 was the first guy in the
400
Western
penalty minutes in 50 games. Jesus.
When he was 17, he had the most penalty minutes ever by a 17-year-old in the Western Hockey League.
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah.
But here's the deal: he got to that place. He got to juniors by being good at hockey, and when he got into juniors, like they were, trying out. And his dad was like, don't stop swinging. Like, you got to. And so someone pissed him off. And he pissed someone off. And the guy fought him. And he kicked the crap out of the guy.
Yeah.
And then they were like, the general manager of the team. I guess you can buy people's rights. I don't know if you still can, but like you could buy a kid's rights even before he was in juniors. You could like buy a kid's rights, and the guy bought his rights based on that fight. Mm-hmm. So, and it doesn't mean you're going to get drafted. And it doesn't mean anything. It means just like they kind of have you. So and you couldn't go to another team. So this guy gets his rights. So now all of a sudden he's got to fight. And he talks about how, like none of these guys want to, like they,
right. Well, we talked to Sean Thornton about that. I mean, when you wake
Bobby
up,
Robbins,
you wake up that morning and know you're going to fight a guy. It's not the most settling thing in the world.
So I'm not even halfway through it, but like the first chapter is, you know how books start with like an interesting chapter and then it goes from there. Like he's training with Bob Probert and some other guys that fight like in California, and there's a reason that it's the first chapter he screws up. But he rolls a bike while going to buy cocaine after he's been drinking all night, and he had
at least he had a good excuse,
and he had been sober. But like those guys all trained together because they knew no one else relates to what I have to do. Like this sucks. Like what we have to, even Probert, I guess, didn't, because in the book the Probert book, you would never, tough guy, you would never know that he didn't like fighting, but like he was like we all didn't like it, like it sucked, and they all become best friends because they're the only ones that can relate to one another. No one else understands what they have to go through.
I remember Thornton talking about that now.
Yeah.
You know, how it's like, you know, oh, you must, you know, really get amped up. He's like, no, I feel sick to my stomach
Every morning. Yeah, it sucks.
And in the times that they're actually like upset are very, very few.
Right.
Like, so
most times they tell everyone, you want to go, let's do this, and it's accepted, and then you go ahead and do it. There's like a protocol to the whole thing.
Well, he tells a story about it. He was playing for first of all, there was a big first round pick that ended up being really good for Tampa Bay. I can't remember off the top of my head. And the guy slashes him in the back of the legs. And he goes, if you do that again, I'm going to put you in the hospital. This isn't during practice. And then so he does it again, and he just hits him in the face. He doesn't knock him out or anything. He hits him in the face. And Esposito is the general manager at Tampa Bay, and he's super pissed off. And he calls him in the office, and he goes, what the hell are you doing? You know, I can't remember the guy's, because I keep wanting to say Hampus Lindholm, but it was a guy who ended up being a star. And he goes, oh, yeah, you know, sorry. And he goes, well, what will you do if he hits you in the back of the legs again? He goes, well, I'll knock him out. And then Esposito goes, that's what I wanted to hear. But there's a story that he's in training camp and he fights this like other like tough guy.
Chris Gratton, I think, is the guy you're talking about.
No, it was a different guy. It was a European guy.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't really matter. And so he fights this guy. The guy's like, you want to go? It's like right before the face-off. It's in a preseason game.
Okay.
And the guy goes, you want to go? And he goes, yeah, sure. And so he fights the guy and he like beats the crap out of him. And they get to the penalty box and the guy, he can see the guy's face is like completely black and blue and like getting swollen, which he says is rare. And the guy's like, hey, Brant, hey, can we go again? He's like, are you sure you want to do this? And he's like, yeah. He's like, come on, dude. Like, I need this. And he's like, fine. So they get on the ice and he goes, I want to make sure he won't fight me again. So I just start pummeling the side of his face that was all black and blue.
God.
And then they take him off into the training room, the other guy into the training room, and he was like, I felt relieved that I wasn't going to have to fight the guy again because I was afraid I was going to kill him. He loses fights and stuff like that.
Sure.
And he says that, and we've heard this before, but I don't know if I've heard it like this. He said, like, when you're in a fight, he said that it's awful all day because you know you have to fight. And then he says that when you get in the fight, you kind of get tunnel vision and nothing really hurts. Then if you win, it kind of eats at you all day and night because you think about that you just fought a guy that you liked and stuff like that. But if you lose, the embarrassment of losing the fight is 1,000 times worse than getting punched. Like 1,000 times worse. And then the guy that does the forward talks about how all these dudes end up like really effed up, like all these like guys that fight for a living end up really effed up.
Yeah.
And he makes a fairly good case for them not to allow fighting anymore in the NHL.
There's 1 or 2 enforcers that have died of CTE that have been BU studies. I'm trying to remember the names.
Well, the
right
book
now.
starts out with that the guy who does the forward is a hockey broadcaster of some kind, and he has 3 friends that were enforcers that killed themselves.
Yeah.
And like all within like a span of like a couple years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not the greatest.
So Brant Myers, there's 2 T's at the end of his first name, and you spell Myers Myhres.
Yeah.
And where have you read this book? You've read
I'm in
it?
the process of reading it. It's really good.
What's it called?
Painkiller.
Okay.
Painkiller.
Sounds fascinating. It's really.
And boy, did he take it. He loves strippers, which also I can relate to. So I'm too old now, and I don't even drink, let alone have cocaine. So my popularity at a strip club would be very low.
Right.
But
my mind wandered when you were talking about the motorcycle crash when he was going to buy coke. What Artie Lang said about it years ago: the best part about cocaine is going to get it. That that 20, 30, maybe even hour-long session where it's like, okay, is it happening? Yes. Is he home? Yes. We have the money? Yes. We're going to get it. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's like going to bed on Christmas Eve. That's the best part.
Well, he had gone to rehab. This is the very beginning of the book. It's like the prologue. And so he had gone to rehab. He had gotten in a lot of trouble, and he'd gone to rehab. And he came out, and he had like 2 months, 3 months sober. And Probert said, "Do you want to go ride motorcycles like in the canyons the next morning?" And he goes, "I don't have a license like to drive a motorcycle." He goes, "Don't worry, I'll rent it for you." And so he rents him a motorcycle, and he gives it to him that night. So Brant Myers goes home, and he's watching TV, and he goes, "Why am I sitting home watching TV? I'm 25 years old. Like,
right.
I got money in my pocket." Like, he's like, "I'll just go and have 1 beer." And so the story is, as everyone knows, who's ever known anyone or had an addiction problem, you have a beer and you feel really guilty, so you have another beer. And then by the 3rd beer, the guilt's gone. And the next thing you know, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you've had a bottle of tequila and about 15 beers, and now you want cocaine. And so a guy was like, "I can get you cocaine." And so he put him on the back of his motorcycle. And the guy goes, "Oh, no, you're supposed to take it right here." So he just jams it right and throws the motorcycle over. And all he sees is the dude's boots sticking in the air. So he's like, "I best get out of here." So he picks up the motorcycle and he takes off, and a cop pulls him over. And he goes, and he's got blood all over him, and he's wasted. And the guy's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, and he goes, "Have you been drinking?" He goes, "Yes, I have, officer." And he hands him his license. He goes, "I don't have a license, and I don't have I don't have a U.S. license, and I don't have registration for this motorcycle." He goes, "You're in a lot of trouble." He goes, starts crying, and he goes, "Look, I play for the San Jose Sharks, and I just signed this big contract, and if you arrest me tonight, I'm going to lose everything, and they're never going to let me back in the NHL." And the guy let him go.
Wow. That was in California?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the guy let him go, so he like went and like drove the motorcycle and like went out and drank more or something.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Well, you go celebrate after a big win like that.
Yeah.
Can't go home.
No. All right, so there you go.
Elated.
Painkiller, if you're interested. And even if you don't like hockey that much, it's one of those, because the great sports books and the great music books, you shouldn't have to like the art or the sport that the guys are playing. It should be a story of like a human story that you can kind of either relate to or be enthralled with. And I really can't recommend it enough. All right, we'll be back. What happened last night? I was at that Bruins game, and the atmosphere was off the chart.
Did you stay for the whole 3rd period?
I left with like 2 minutes left. I mean, what else am I going to do?
Okay,
you stayed for all of that.
That's impressive.
Wow.
But what else am I going to do? I didn't drive there. Like,
Sleep.
Yeah, maybe go home and get some rest.
the difference between leaving with 5 minutes left and 2 minutes left is
5. I would have left with 10.
the person I was with, their like back started to bother him, so I was like, "Yeah, let's just go." Like I wanted to go,
Yeah.
but I was very cold in that building.
I tell you when I would have left. at the 5:57 mark of the third period. Why? We'll tell you next.
Yeah.
That's a teaser.
I was like talking and stuff. I was barely paying attention to the game,
Smart
as you
man.
can imagine.
Smart man.
I mean, you go with someone to a game. You're not, I'm not standing up and cheering for this team the whole game. I mean, come on. Like, I was living and dying with every possession.
Worth every penny of the ticket price. I'm telling you.
Well, I didn't buy the tickets.
I know
told
that.
you I'm
That's
not
where I
buying
was
tickets.
leading to.
Yeah,
Yep.
Ryan Johnston gave them to me. He was very nice. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
the Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
You played for the University for a second?
Coach Cal.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. What happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR.
Uh-oh. Something come up there? Was that a little DC?
No, I was making my. I thought I might break wind through my mouth, so I decided to hold it back a little bit.
Nice.
Oh.
Nice.
And I wish you wouldn't have pointed it out because now I'm all self-conscious about it.
Okay.
You know what? You guys handle this break. I can't.
Wipe the slate clean. Let's talk about the Winnipeg Jets, who were in Boston to play the Bruins last night. Jets, good team.
Very,
very, very good team.
very good team.
I mean, they're the good offense, good defense, good power play.
Did a kid from Rhode Island playing his first ever NHL game?
Oh, he got involved.
Was he
did.
ever?
Yeah.
But not right away. Instead, it was a Brad Marchand kind of questionable slashing call that led to the first power
Kind
play.
of questionable. It didn't exist.
It was a cross-check. It was a cross-check.
BS penalty is what it was.
He gave
No.
put his stick in his back up against the boards. It's look.
Okay.
Questionable.
This team has
John.
enough trouble without BS calls against them.
Questionable. So the Winnipeg strikes first down the power play. They're up 1-0 in the first 3 minutes of the game.
And we're off.
And we're off. And then they would add to it.
Locked up into the air here by Zadorov. Comes back down near side. Sandberg back to Pionk. His shot. Score! That one looked to be redirected by Scheifele. And the Jets make it 2-0 with 8.5 to go here in the first.
It was redirected by Scheifele, and they did go up 2-0 in the first.
Should have been 3-0. They had a goal disallowed, if you remember correctly.
That is
so
correct.
it was 2-0, then it was 1-0 again, then it was 2-0 again.
And it was 2-0 again. Okay. Nothing more dangerous than a 2-0 lead in a hockey, Wallach. And Brad Marchand knows that.
Lindholm will play it off to the far side here for Marchand. Stepping into a shot. Scores! Brad Marchand from the left circle rings the pipe it in. A power play goal cuts the lead in half.
With the feed from Elias Lindholm and David Pastrnak. So at the 15:34 mark of the first, we got a 1-goal game. Fantastic. Now, Brad Marchand would go off again at the very end of the first period, so the Bruins start the second period shorthanded. They get a great try right off the opening faceoff that forces a save in the Bruins' offensive zone. So the faceoff, I mean, we're talking moments into the second period. This happened.
Zaka's got a pair of shorthanded goals this year. Here's one for Lindholm. He scores! Zaka won the faceoff right to the inside of the circle, and the Bruins have tied it.
11 seconds into the third period. Game's tied.
Fantastic.
Everyone's going nuts. Building's rocking. 2-2 game against one of the best teams in the league.
This is fantastic. Now, the Bruins have had issue. I'm trying to think. Have they ever been scored on right after they've scored a goal? Has that happened to them this season?
Yeah. A lot.
all the time.
Yeah.
Now, generally, it's within, say, a minute or two.
Yeah.
How about 20 seconds?
Pass off to the left side for Ehlers. Got it right back to Scheifele, who scores. Give and go. Scheifele walked right in. And Winnipeg right back in front. It's 3-2.
That would be actually 24 seconds later. Scheifele would get his second goal of the game, and Winnipeg takes the lead. But that wasn't enough. Have the Bruins had problems giving up 2 goals in a row really quickly? I know they like to give up a goal right after they score. Do they like to give up a goal after they've already given up a goal?
Well, they like to score in their own goal just to make it more interesting.
Sent around the near side. Ehlers. Sandberg from the point. Shot went wide and kicked around to the far side of the net. Chance for Perfetti, and they score. As Lohrei had it at the near side of the net, it was poked away and into the back of the net by Ehlers. and it's 4-2 Winnipeg.
Okay, there's a couple things that happened there that my ignorance of hockey could come into play. Also, I know it's not fun to break down regular season games, but Lurie's got the puck. He starts playing around with it, and he pretty much just kicks it into his own goal, backhanded. But my question is, why did Korpisalo even move his leg away? He moved his leg away from that post, leaving that whole side of the net open. Did he just assume Lurie had it and that he didn't have to be there?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the way you're supposed to play goal.
I don't know either. I'm not a goalkeeper. I'm not a goaltender, nor do I play one on TV or radio.
So what happens is Korpisalo is over there. Korpisalov's over there. Lurie gets the puck, kind of going around the right side of the goal from behind.
He's going counterclockwise around the net.
He's very
and so Korpisalo
getting back to the center.
But Korpisalov's on the right side of the goal, and he takes his leg away, and now he's on the left side of the goal, but the puck is on the right side of the goal. It wasn't good.
It's like he lost track of the puck behind him.
Lurie takes it around the left side. He's making sure everything's fine. He goes over there. He's like, all right, Lurie's got it. He's alone behind the net. Now, I know we're not going to be able to clear it out of our zone, but at the very least, he's going to bank it off the right wall and try and get it out of the zone. So I have a second.
No, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. He moved. He moved away from that post.
No, look. I'm watching it
okay,
right now.
Yeah, all right.
Okay,
so he goes over.
And he goes back over, and he's just slow getting over.
Oh, all right. It just, he was, emphasis on slow.
Yeah, slow because there's no danger there. The last thing my guy is going to do is take it in between.
You got nothing else to do. Just move over to where the puck is.
How about Lurie? Don't try and clear the puck through my crease.
To me, that's obvious. Lurie not scoring on his own net is obvious. My when I get deeper into it, I'm wondering why Korpisalo didn't stand on the side. My understanding is to move to the side of the net where the puck is, so they can't jam it in on it.
I thought it.
Pucks do get turned over.
Looking at it, I think Korpisalo, for some reason, lost track of it, which is by itself bad, too. But there are so many things wrong, not only with this play, but it's kind of emblematic of with this team. They keep making dumb mistakes like this.
And maybe the play was, or, what would have been better as he's looking at the ice. Maybe he's thinking Lurie is going to take it behind and then switch direction and go back the same way he came from and clear it up the left side.
Then get in the middle of the crease. I don't know. Whatever. What do I know? Maybe he did everything right. I highly doubt it.
Did
not good.
Korpisalo speak about that? I believe he did. Okay, so this is what Korpisalo himself had to say about that. Go ahead.
It just happened really quickly. Stuff happens. Obviously, I would like to be there to back it up, but I wasn't.
Satisfied, Fred?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for playing that. I'm satisfied.
An NHL quality defenseman should be able to handle the puck. So I was sorry I was sold there, but I figured this guy gets paid to do this.
Dude, they're moving around all the time for no reason anyway. They're that's what I'm almost positive that's what they're supposed to do. Be moving back and forth across the crease. Not leaving anything open. Don't think you're just supposed to when the puck's in the around the crease. I don't think.
So you want him to cover the entire goal? That seems like a lot to ask. It's 4 feet across.
You're right. That's too much to ask.
Yeah, it's pickleball, baby. It's the same kind of surface area.
Noon. That's noon today.
Oh, good for you.
On a Friday.
Twice in a week.
You're not
exhausted.
3 times.
3 times.
This is my 3rd time.
Oh, you're addicted now.
That's why he's getting so muscular.
Thank you for noticing.
Very vascular, very muscular. Wow, look at you.
All right, so the Bruins have the night off. They will have a matinee tomorrow afternoon. Tickets that I could not get from Ryan Johnston because someone, and Wallach tried to get those too. Somebody scooped him up, and then seconds after he offered him up.
All right, so the Bruins are bad, mediocre at best, and bad. And it turns out it wasn't the head coach. And you know what? Charlie McAvoy was back last night, and they still look terrible. There's really a lot of bad things happening with this team. They're 1 point out of a playoff spot, but it feels like they're in last place. They are just horrendous. in really quick stretches. Like, they played Winnipeg pretty even for about 41 minutes last night. And then in the span of like 5 minutes, everything went sideways and the game was over.
I don't know how you score an equalizer and then just let them go down the ice and do whatever they want. It's 2 games in a row where there's just, even being there, it doesn't even seem competitive.
That's what Joe Sacco said, by the way. He said, we played well for 41 minutes.
You look at the game, we come out to start the third.
Congratulations,
period,
you're not coaching next year.
We get a shorthanded goal, right? And then, for 41 minutes or so, I
3 coaches in a year.
That's what I thought watching that game last night. This is the time you fire the coach. Whoops, they already did that. I don't want to hear that you played well for 41 minutes. You gave up a goal seconds after you scored, and then you gave up another one seconds after that. You got defensemen going to the wrong spot. I know it's your backup goaltender, but he's out of position. You've just got fundamental coaching issues with this team. You've got fundamental discipline problems and motivational problems with this team. I don't know that firing the coach would change anything, but you already did that, and it did nothing. When a lot of people, including people on this show, said, you don't need to fire Montgomery. That's not going to.
That was my issue with firing Montgomery, is that once you fire Montgomery, that's over. So, and if I'm Sweeney and Neely, now it's me.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing else. Well, look, this guy's not coaching the team next year. He's just not gonna. It's short of a miracle, and I don't even want to start talking about that. Chances are very, very high he's not the coach. Now you've had 3 coaches in a year, which is a circus. And by the way, it's not like you fired Montgomery, after the All-Star break, and this guy just came in as an interim coach. This guy's now been your coach pretty much all year. You fire Montgomery, he gets a job now. He's not lighting the world on fire in St. Louis, but they're not a very good team. But he goes there, he gets a job like the day after you fire him because he's a good coach. He's a guy who coached well for you here. And now you put this guy, Sacco, in, and you have like a 4-game bump, and then it's all back to to worse maybe than it was.
This team, I don't remember this happening under Montgomery. This team's ability to go from good play to bad play, and not just bad play, horrendous play on a dime.
But Montgomery pushed Marchand. He pushed Marchand.
Yes. I don't understand what's going on there.
Yeah,
it's been a while since we've seen this. We've seen them play poorly before, on and off, but I haven't seen them play like this.
I can't for the life of
time.
me. It's like the Jets firing their coach like 4 games in the season. It's like, all right, well, now it's a disaster. Just fire the guy fire the guy when there's no hope. Like fire the guy. Give him half a season and then or 3/4 of a season and fire the guy. You don't think that they could have had this record with Montgomery, and then you don't have to be the garbage team that fires coaches after 15 games.
Right.
I hated that firing. In fairness, I really like Jim Montgomery like as a person, so like I'm a little biased in this, and I guess I wouldn't be the few people that give someone credit because I actually like them in sports radio, but I do like him as opposed to most of these people that I do not care for. But I don't know. It's a real ass show over there, and they're going to have to sell at the deadline, and I don't know what they're going to even be able to sell, and I don't know.
That's just it. You are a mediocre team. You're a middle of the pack team. You're hanging at the edge of the dartboard for the playoffs. Maybe you make it, maybe you don't, but even if you get in, it doesn't matter. So whatever high draft pick you may get doesn't matter either. And you don't have assets to sell off to bring anything back.
Well, you do.
Not really.
You have Marchand.
Well, you do, but I guess I'm assuming the Bruins won't pull the trigger on that.
Well, that's the interesting question. We don't have time to get into it now, but it's not something that necessarily needs to be discussed now. And I love Brad, but maybe the best thing for Brad and the best thing for this organization, because what I read because I don't know anything about the value of picks and the value of
right.
but is a young, good NHL player, active NHL player, and a second-round pick for Marchand. And if you had the opportunity to do that, Marchand's 36, and he's coming off of like a lot of injuries. You don't know when he's going to fall off the cliff. I love Brad, and I love the way he plays, and I love that he's been here his whole career. But that's a guy, if you could get a young, good NHL player.
No, I agree with you, but I just don't think Don Sweeney will do it. I think that McAvoy, Pastrnak, and Marchand are untouchables.
Well, I wouldn't trade McAvoy
and Swayman as well. Those 4.
Well, you can't trade Swayman.
But those are the 4 untouchables on this roster, and if that's the given, what do you have to sell off that's going to bring you back anything?
You might be right, but I'm not. You might be right, but if I can just put myself in their shoes. You might be right, as I said before, but. If I was them, I would listen to Marchand. I would listen. He's got to waive his no trade anyway, so it's not like you're screwing him over.
Right.
But if you can find a situation where he could compete for a cup, I mean, he could. We all agree Marchand could be the difference between a team winning a cup and not
he
winning
would.
a cup.
Oh, God, yes.
So,
still be that guy.
if he wants to win another cup, he ain't doing it here. And he ain't doing it here next year. So you might as well strike when the iron's hot. All right, we'll be back. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub.
Belladonna as a singer, and then when the guy from Armored Saint became singer, I was like, he's all right.
What are your thoughts on their collab version of Bring the Noise with Public Enemy?
I thought at the time it was fine.
Yeah, and then
like it's a little corny now.
It's really corny. But I'm sorry, they got a song called Black Lodge that's inspired by Twin Peaks. You ever heard that one? It's got synthesizers and stuff in it. It's like 90s Anthrax.
No, but I read the Joey Stigma biography, which I can only say is really well written. There's pasta recipes in it.
Oh,
and a lot of them. And he's very angry at Anthrax for never promising to take them out and never taking them out.
We'll have to get Anthrax only into the mix.
I really like that song.
All
right. What's going on, Hardy?
All right. So, story breaking yesterday about some unusual betting patterns involving former Celtic Terry Rozier. Now, this game took place 2 years ago, but now they're under investigation, and apparently they've been looking at a few things for some time now. It's part of the same probe that led to the ban of the Raptors player Jonte Porter. Wall Street Journal, first to report on this. Rozier was playing for the Hornets at the time. Says they were alerted to unusual betting activity related to Rozier's performance in a game between Charlotte and New Orleans. This was a game where Rozier left the game claiming a foot issue.
9 minutes he played.
9 minutes.
Yeah, okay, keep going. I have thoughts. Go ahead.
Oh, no. The no violation of NBA rules. We are now aware of an investigation by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York related to this matter, and they've been cooperating. That's what the spokesperson for the NBA said.
All right. So, first of all, congratulations on the idiot that bet $80,000 on a parlay involving Terry Rozier's over-under totals. I don't know how that would at all. And I think he did it through one of these like big online sports books. So like, congratulations on that. That won't raise any red flags. You're very savvy. Because first of all, there's nothing sharp gamblers and professional gamblers love more than a good parlay. And $80,000 on a parlay is a lot of fun. Now, here's what I'll say about Terry Rozier. Unless they have like wiretaps or something like that, he didn't play again that season. He came out with the foot injury, and then he didn't play the last 7 games. So I'm not convinced. Okay, right? So, like, it's all fishy, and someone knew something was going on. But is it possible that Rozier was like, the guy knew Rozier's foot was really bothering him? He pulls himself from the game. Because Rozier makes the kind of money where this would be insane. Like, what was the payout on the $80,000?
Well, his career, I don't know.
Say it was like $350,000 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, Rozier makes that in 5 games, or 10 games. Like, I mean, that would be like if you were in trouble with a bookie. First of all, if you're in trouble with a bookie, the bookie's not going to FanDuel and putting $80,000 on a weird Rozier over-under.
His salary that year was over $21 million.
Yeah, so I don't believe that he's shaving, that he's going to take himself out of a game and not play the rest of the season.
What it sounds like, and I think you're right about this, Fred, what it sounds like is someone was tipped with some injury information. Now, if you're tipped like that, you don't bet $80,000 through an app because you will get caught. That's the kind of figure that will alert the federal.
We all know the Lufthansa heist. You can't go out and buy your lady a pink Cadillac in a
It's in my
mink
mother's
coat.
name. It's my mother's name. It was a wedding gift.
What are you out of your mind? I told you not to do anything with that money. So you get a great tip, right? So maybe you go, you know what? I'm going to put $5,000 or $10,000 on his points under.
But even 10, you're pushing it.
10 on a points under, I don't think that raises a huge red flag. 80 on a parlay raises a flag.
Sure.
Or how about this, John? Spread the money over several books. Like spread the money Like, go to different books and put $5,000 at 4 different books.
Yep.
I don't know. If you know you're going to make $350,000, fly to Vegas and hit a bunch of casinos and put the money in those casinos. Go to different casinos in Vegas, then fly to Detroit and put it in those casinos, and then fly to Atlantic City and put it in those casinos. Like, if this is your way, if your plan is that you're going to make like real money, $500,000 or whatever, put the work in. You don't just sign into your app and go like, oh, no one's going to notice this. Because they pulled the Rozier before the game. They pulled the Rozier prop bets off because they knew something weird was going on. So the guy just blew it up for everyone. I mean, it was really not a savvy gambler.
No. So if you're desperate, though, and you see a way of making, a huge sum of money and maybe getting yourself out from under you think maybe it's worth the risk. And, yeah, it doesn't make any sense that Rozier would have benefited financially from any of this. What I'm sure they're looking at is any connection between the bettor and Rozier. Did they know each other?
Or somebody who works for Charlotte, called his buddy Jimmy from the neighborhood, called him up and said, do this.
Okay, but
he's not playing.
But another thing about that is, how can you prove, like a federal prosecutor prove that anyone did anything wrong if Rozier or someone from Charlotte said, I don't think Rozier's testing his foot tonight. We're thinking about shutting him down. I'm not positive if he can play the whole game. Like, if I tell that to someone, I'm going to go to jail. Like, that's information that gets traded around. Like, if there was, I think what the thing would be, guys, is that if you knew Rozier was going to pull himself out at 9 minutes in, and that was the way it was going to happen. It was orchestrated beforehand that was going to happen. If someone had information that he was playing on a bad foot, and chances are he wouldn't be effective or they would take him out of the game, then is that worth putting someone in jail for? Who should go to jail is the guy betting $80,000 on a parlay on one of these online sports books.
He should just be institutionalized.
How many $80,000 bets do you think there are on FanDuel and that stuff? Not many.
No, that's probably the first, red flag that popped up. The fact that somebody was betting $80,000 on a parlay involving, like, in the under in a random regular season NBA.
Right, like someone puts $100,000 on the Super Bowl or something, and you're like, yeah, sure. So I let's not rush to judgment about Terry Rozier here, because he would have to be in such a phenomenal amount of gambling trouble. And then if it's like a mob thing, well, the mob's not putting $80,000.
Yeah, no. Or just
making a FanDuel account so he can get taxed.
Or he would have to be so dumb that he would do something like that, tell somebody, hey, I know you're in trouble. Here's I can help get you out. Bet the under on everything. I'm going to try this tonight, and then because I'm not feeling it, and then somehow be in concert with it just as a favor. If you really want to do the guy the favor, just give him the $300,000. Yeah, you've made $133 million in your career.
But if you're friends with someone and you tell them, like, my foot's bothering me, I'm going to try it out tonight, I'm not sure I can play the whole game. I mean, that's a federal offense.
People do weird stuff, man. That's how Phil Mickelson got his buddy to go to jail. He ratted him out on a stock tip. And that it's like, why would the guy tell him in the first place? Well, Phil, you owe me some money, but here's a way you can pay it off. Here's a stock tip. And the guy who told him that is the one who went to jail.
Yeah, but was that insider trading?
It was, but he was once removed. He didn't even work for the company. He was a friend of the guy who worked for the company.
And how much did Phil put in it?
Oh, he made like $1 million off the stock tip.
Yeah, I'm that's above my knowledge. But Phil Mickelson also was in what would you estimate his gambling debt at?
Oh, thousands of dollars.
You think that much? More than 10? Probably not, right?
No, it's not.
I think Phil was in a little bit of trouble. Apparently, this Bruno Mars thing is not far from the truth either. This I've been hearing this Bruno Mars $50 million debt that he's got to the casino that he's paying off is not
really
through his residency.
Yeah.
It's got a Colonel Tom Parker Elvis feel to it.
Yeah, it does.
Oh,
Yep.
good.
All right, Bert Breer should be with us. He's going to be on Zoom from the Senior Bowl practices. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's Lindholm's shorthanded goal tied the game 11 seconds into the final period, and then, as it has a lot recently, things went sideways.
Pass off to the left side for Ehlers. Got it right back to Scheifele, who scores. Give and go. Scheifele walked right in. And Winnipeg right back in front. It's 3-2.
That's Ryan Johnson here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. The Jets scored 4 goals in period number 3 to beat the Bruins in their own building 6-2. As it stands this morning, the Bruins no longer have a playoff spot in the East. They'll host the Rangers tomorrow. Charlie McAvoy back in the lineup last night, and before the game named as an alternate captain for Team USA in the Four Nations face-off. Celtics visit New Orleans tonight. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 7:30 and the tip-off at 8 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Jaylen Brown last night voted as an Eastern Conference All-Star reserve for a third straight year. The Baltimore Banner reported yesterday Ravens kicker Justin Tucker has been accused of inappropriate behavior by 6 different massage therapists. Patriots are reportedly going to hire Colts assistant defensive backs coach Justin Hamilton to help the defense. And ESPN is reporting at this hour senior offensive assistant Ben McAdoo will remain on staff as well. And former Patriots defensive coordinator DeMarcus Covington is headed to Green Bay to be their new defensive line coach. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning. 24-hour on-call service for your clogged drain emergencies. Go to johnsewer.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
Start your day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Work through your day.
What's that thing we do at the end of the show?
And end your day.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here, 98.5 The Sports Hub. What's the best way to listen to Toucher and Hardy?
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Bert Breer is the senior NFL reporter and lead content strategist for the MMQB. Getting down to business with Bert Breer is presented by Bentley University, where good business begins and leaders come to learn. All right, Bert, you were just at the Senior Bowl. How was it?
It was good. It was, I think that's my 17th of those. So,
Wow.
Yeah, I'm getting old. No, it was a good week. It's, sort of, I think, for 30 of the 32 teams at the beginning of the 2025 season, it's really the first thing that most of the general managers are intimately involved with. The other All-Star games are maybe some lower level scouts, no coaches. This one, you actually have a lot of coaches there. You have your general managers there, and there is business done too. This was where, for example, the Alex Smith trade happened. This was where the Kirk Cousins negotiation went off the rails with Washington years ago. This is where groundwork is laid for trades and those sorts of things that you'll hear about in March. So, it's a good place to be, I'd say, for somebody who does the job that I do.
Who do you rub elbows with? Like, are you?
I try to see everybody.
Do you go to the bars and see the guys? You've mentioned before they're a little off guard. Like, they put the guards down.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a good chance to see people in a less intense environment than what you see during the season, and so yeah, there's a little bit of that. Like I'll be on the sideline with guys. I'm lucky enough they take care of me, and I'm able to get down into the field area where where most of the GMs and head coaches that are there are during practice, and so there's that. And then like you're out at night and you see people at night and all of that. So it's like I said, it's a good place to be for those couple of days. And most of at least the really high end people really only go in for a couple of days. No one's there for the game. Everybody's there to see the guys go through drills and practice, to actually get eyes on the players, to interview the guys, because this is their first chance to get face to face with these guys, and it's still by far the best of the All-Star games, just as far as having the highest end prospects.
Do you? Who's the guys from? You can just say from what team that are out the latest, that are known as the most fun.
I mean, the Cowboys have always been that way.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, the reputation precedes them,
Jerry's got his own suite.
Yeah, I mean, it's like.
Was Jerry Jones there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
When I was a pup.
Yeah.
Jerry's there. Steven's there. So the Cowboys make sure to get to these events.
And does Jerry hold? He goes to like regular restaurants and everything. He doesn't have his own thing.
Yeah, I mean, they have So there's like kind of two areas of Mobile. There's downtown, and some of the teams stay downtown, and then there's like an area that's closer to the airport that's actually kind of far away because these cities in the South, as you guys know, are so spread out.
Right.
And so the Cowboys have generally, I think, well, no, they've been downtown, but there's different areas to go, and I like the Cowboys are I would say when they go out to dinner are a like let's get a private room type of group, but then they make themselves more public at night.
Okay. Then they make it happen at night. Over the course of the 17 years that you've been going,
tactful, right?
That was good. You're saying that Jerry rolls deep. I understand. Yeah.
does he travel with security?
Yeah, he has a bodyguard.
Okay. Does anyone else have security with them? That's always interesting to me. Who would require security?
I don't think so. I'm trying to think. I don't think anybody brings like team security with them, really. Team security is at the combine, but that's more because that's when you're doing like the background stuff. Because a team security guy isn't just there to protect like the players and the coaches. He's also there to do background work.
Sure.
Because they're the ones, the team security guys are the guys who have all the connections in law enforcement. And
everything. Believe me, not covering, but talking about the Patriots for this long, I'm well aware of that. But my question is, it's really just off. It's a random question. I'm always interested, I don't know if you guys are, about who has their own personal security. Like who has the level of fame where they have to have personal security with them?
I don't know that like any of these guys really do. I mean, you're talking about the coaches and general managers. I don't think that they really need that.
Have you ever been?
I'd be interested to see if Brady ever got involved. Like what?
Oh, Brady's got a team with him when he's out, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
A guy with NDAs, a guy with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I was just in Kansas City, and you definitely see that around Taylor Swift, and there was definitely it's interesting. I was like, I don't know. Like she walked right by me in the tunnel.
Were you stricken by her incredible beauty?
You know what strikes you is how tall she is.
Yeah,
she's fair. She's like when she's
like
with
Brittany Griner.
When she's with she's
like Maud.
Bert understood that.
B. Arthur.
Yeah,
Bert understood the Brittany Griner reference. That's good.
Yeah,
good for you, Bert.
I do like the idea of somebody on Brady's team that was just a briefcase full of non-discllosure agreements.
I don't know anything except for third-hand things. My understanding is
along with a notary seal.
And
everything else.
I think
assembly line.
I may or may not have heard it's a digital operation, but there are NDA. There is an NDA involved.
Yeah, the Taylor Swift one. That's interesting because she does go out with the Chiefs players and stuff. And
if I'm her, I want a massive security team around me.
They have it's what you would think, like where it's like there's people close by that are working for her that have the earpieces in and all that.
Do you like Travis Kelce?
I've come to like him. Yeah, no, I in the beginning thought of him what I think a lot of people do. When you listen to him talk and how he carries himself and everything else, but
he appropriates language.
But there's a. I try to judge a lot of these guys based on what their teammates think of them and what their coaches think of them, and there are certain guys where it's just like, I may have thought one thing about him, but like everything that's going on around him indicates the opposite. And he was one of those where it was like, like and then I got to know him a little bit, and like, I actually really like the guy. I like the family. The family, like they're like good Midwestern people.
Yeah, the thing with Jason Kelce is I don't doubt that he's like a good guy, and I think that's why he gets some of the opportunities that he gets. Mm-hmm. It's almost not his fault. It's the people around him. It's just the overexposure of these guys. And I didn't like Kelce well before he was dating Taylor Swift.
I did hear some stuff you guys did on Jason Kelce's
Well, it's atrocious.
Yeah.
Like these guys are getting.
Can't defend
Is
that.
it going to get a second episode? I don't even know.
No, we didn't
I'm not
find
going to be
it.
offended.
Well, it was on.
I think it was on.
Oh, was
maybe
there a second
last
episode?
week? Yeah, I think and it was only supposed to be 3 or 4 episodes, but
Yeah.
they were running it like in the middle of the night on Friday, going into Saturday.
I don't know like who. Like, and Jason's got a great personality, and I think he'd be an awesome football broadcaster. Right?
Yes.
Like, awesome. That's different than. Like,
Yes.
And that seemed like when I saw that seemed to me like, all right, you're going from like 0 to 100 on this, like really, really, really fast. Are you? Are they trying? Is it they're trying to turn him into Strahan? Right? Like, is that?
No, but the thing that bugged me about the two of them is that, as evidence, and I could give you 10,000 things that have happened where media companies have made horrible, horrible investments, and some of them are going bankrupt based on these terrible investments that they've made. And guys are having to step down from huge roles as head of companies because they make these.
And it winds up costing other people jobs.
And so, like when they gave the Kelsey brothers $100 million, I was like, all right, that's $100 million that could have been spread around to like people that were good at their jobs. And it's such wasted money because every day that goes by is a day that they're less famous or they're being burnt out.
It's interesting you say that because I sometimes players will ask me at the end of their careers or then right after they retire, like, how do I get into media? And what I always say is don't wait, because you have no idea how fast your name will lose its appeal. It's like every day you're out. And that's why I think like a guy like Ryan Clark, Brandon Marshall, like those guys were really smart to start doing it before they retired, because like a guy spends a couple years out and his name is like 30% of what it was when he walks away.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just that like if I was working for that company, my boss gave them
the
$100
McCourties
million.
were really smart about that.
Well, and also Devin's like really good at what he
Really
does.
good at
and
it,
so there's
yeah.
like and he's analyzing football, right? He's not doing stand up.
Yeah.
Like he's analyzing football. Like
There's different levels of funny. To do like what Jason's trying to do, you have to be really, really, really
to
funny.
do a monologue, dude.
Yeah.
There's like 8 guys that can do it. To stand on TV every week or every night and do a monologue.
I don't even think there's 8.
You got to.
There might not. There might not. Well, Chevy Chase couldn't do it.
Then it looks easy for certain people is a testament to how good they are at it.
Well, it's not only the handful of people that can do it, but they all have writers helping them too.
Yeah.
So it's
Teams of writers,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a group effort, and there's only a couple that a few that can pull it off at any given moment. So it's kind of an unfair ask for him to go out there and put on a network-worthy talk show.
You could give me the best writers in the world and give me a monologue, and I still wouldn't be able to do it.
I wouldn't be able to do it. So here's the deal. I mean, just think of who was successful up until like 10 years ago. Carson made the format. So he was a stand-up and traveled around and was a comedian. So he does that. Mm-hmm. Then it's Letterman and Leno who were like, I mean, Leno had been touring and I don't think he's funny, but he was been a touring comic for 30 years before he got that job.
Yeah.
And Letterman was a big star at the Comedy Store and had been doing stand-up in
LA for years.
And been doing that for years and years and years, an incredibly gifted stand-up. So, you get these guys in, and then they're able to hire writers that have different points of view than them and kind of like the same, maybe the same point of view, but different styles of stuff. And then that's when it becomes very successful. So, it's like... It's just like I think of a company giving those guys $100 million, and then I think of all the other people that work at the company, and they're never going to return that investment. They're never going to make that money back.
And I love Jason. Jason Kelsey's a really good guy,
and I don't doubt that.
But he still doesn't have like the name. His brother helps, but his brother's name recognition was boosted by Taylor Swift. Jason Kelsey was a center, like. It's just not.
Jason Kelsey should be doing pre and post game stuff, and he'd be great at it.
Great at it, and he can do it for 30 years.
Exactly, and that's what he should be doing.
And
he
that's what I
shouldn't
think
be
he
doing
will-
talk shows.
that's
He
what
shouldn't be
will
doing
wind up-
podcasts.
That's what he will wind up doing.
Of course.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they'll have $50 million in the bank because some idiot gave him $50 million to go do a podcast.
Taking it, take it. Like it's 100%.
I don't have a problem with them taking it. I told you I have a problem with these businesses. Just like they hired David Lee Roth to replace the most popular, controversial, probably profitable broadcaster of all time. They took a guy with no radio experience. That's what bugs me, is that they're like, oh, this is an audio medium. We're just going to throw these guys with no experience on it, and people are going to listen to it forever. No, they're not. That's not going to be popular forever. Jesus Christ. Jason Kelsey's wife's podcast, Not Lying, no hyperbole, was the #1 podcast. We just played Lou Holtz's podcast yesterday. He claims 80 million people in 6 months had downloaded his podcast. We did how many people watched that AFC Championship game?
We've had over 80 million hits on it.
Yeah, 50 million people
50
watched the
million
AFC
people watched
Championship game.
Yeah.
So he's got 30 million more listening to him than the. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. But that's my own problem. All right, look, there's a lot to get you to. You're at the Senior Bowl. We can talk a little bit about the draft. To be honest, I've had it with the coaching with the Patriots. I don't really care. I don't know if you guys do. You can ask, I mean, if you want to, you can. And then we can talk about the Super Bowl and everything going on around that, and the coaching hires and everything else. How bad was the Jacksonville press conference?
We got to talk to him about Liam Coen.
Yeah, we got to talk about Liam Coen and how if that does really any
we
real
have to
damage.
talk to you about that guy.
All right, so we'll have that for you all coming up.
magazine, and I can't like look
Alfred
at
E.
him.
Newman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks because he's all chin and cheekbones.
Yeah.
Like he's all like big. He looks like one of those clay guys that used to be on PBS that move their faces around. But the ability he has to control his eyebrows, because I'll break it down for you. When he goes Duval, he when he says the do part, he cocks his chin to his right shoulder and lifts his right eyebrow. Then on the Vol, he moves his chin to the center of his face and raises both eyebrows. Then he kicks his head back in like a Jack K type satisfactory, like sassy pose.
Fred has a pretty good control of his eyebrows too.
Yeah, well, he's been practicing.
No, I can't do what he did. Like I'll try. Duval.
No, it was pretty good control of the eyebrows. I don't know if I can do that.
We look at Liam Coen and we think, fool. How does the NFL look at Liam Coen? Do they look at him the same way we do?
Well, can I ask him the Phil question?
so
Can I ask? Let me start asking the Phil the question. I asked Phil. Is there an importance to the introductory press conference?
No. I mean, no. Because
I don't know. Adam Gase we pretty much pegged Adam Gase as a
Nick
bad head coach.
Sirianni was a disaster.
And I would contend we don't know about Sirianni. There's a lot going. They have a ton of talent. There's a lot going on over there,
dude. I mean, come on. All right, they're 48-20 in the regular season. He has like the fifth best winning percentage of all time.
Do you think he's a good coach?
He said it.
And he's won. Yeah, I think he's done a good job.
No. They've won, yeah. But do you think they're winning because of the general manager or because of the coach?
I think it takes a certain type of person to coach in that market. I think it takes a certain type of person to handle the amount of talent that they have because there's a lot of egos there.
So he's like a Joe Torre.
To deal with the Phil Jackson, like to deal with the dynamics between like Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown.
Well, Hurts doesn't like him. Did you hear the stuff he said after the NFC Championship
Hurts doesn't
game?
like anybody.
Oh, really?
Oh, so like I think we all look at this and it drives me nuts.
Okay.
Because like everybody looks at this and because you can put a statistic on everything, and so everything becomes about X's and O's. And the bottom line is, and you guys should know this following Detroit, like such a huge part of this is motivating and getting the most out of people and managing egos. And so what Mike Tomlin's done really well over the year. Dan Campbell's great at it. I would argue, like with Sean McVay, like as much as everybody tries to make him out to be this offensive professor, like his ability to build an offense and call plays, he's really good at it. But it's down the list of what he's good at. Like he's better as a leader. He's better at managing people. He's better at getting the most out of people.
We've talked about that. I heard Danny Cannell say this, is that you can find X's and O guys to be your coordinators. What you need is like a leader of men. And we also, as you have probably a million times, we've talked to how many ex-athletes over the last 20 years. I mean, ex-football players, let's say 200. And we've had guys that have come in here and said, numerous ones, and said, this guy came up in front of us and we hated him the first time. Vance Joseph was one, and Patricia was one. Like, there were guys that lost the team. Not introductory press conference, but lost the team right away.
First meeting, yeah. We had Aqib Talib came on and told us he knew 5 minutes after Vance Joseph held his first meeting he wasn't going to work out.
I mean, and so like I think I think with Sirianni, like his ability to just get the most out of people. And I do think that there's like that Tomlin aspect to it where it's like, obviously Sirianni and Tomlin are very different people, but you know, if you show that you can manage people, that you can manage egos, that you can deal with problems, that you can put out fires, that allows you to cast a wider net from a talent perspective. You're able to bring in more, like you rule out fewer people because you can do that. And so like just having somebody who can manage the superstar egos that they have. Like, do you know what people have talked about Jalen Carter? Okay. I've heard this like, how could he have fallen to 9? You want to know why he fell to 9?
Right.
Like, you really want to know why he fell. But they're able to draft him because they have a coaching staff who can handle him. Like, they went through firing both their coordinators last year. A lot of head coaches would have a problem if you brought in two guys, in Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore.
Hell yeah, they would.
Who have huge reputations that way. And he's able to deal with that. So I think you have to give him credit for it. Anyway, so back to the
Fair enough. I was being unfair.
Back to the original point. Like Nick Sirianni bombed his introductory press conference. Matt LaFleur, if you go back and watch, was not good.
Oh, really?
Not good. Yeah.
Did he say Duval though, like that?
There are
LaFleur,
steps that you take.
LaFleur
Duval. Come on, Bert.
LaFleur looked flat out like scared.
What?
Okay.
Nervous, and uncomfortable. And the questions about LaFleur coming in were, can he stand in front of the room? And immediately it was like that question was there.
Well, if we're being honest
Campbell,
now, that's what I'm going to bring up. Dan Campbell, we laughed at and mocked mercilessly his opening.
I mean, that was
press
a joke.
conference.
He was a punchline for 6 months because
I don't remember going after Dan Campbell for that press conference.
We did. Oh, yeah, we did.
Oh, he's going to bite
Dan
kneecaps,
Campbell, yeah.
and we're going to beat us down on the ground. We're going to bite your ankles.
I like that.
The
thing,
2 to 6 guys still hold it against him.
Nationally, he was a joke.
Well,
That's
the thing I didn't like about it is he was like, "We're gritty like this town." Like that, I was like, "Okay." Like
I
thought that was
stuff
placating.
I always think the city stuff
It's
cool.
stupid, but I don't
Because
know
it's
if I hated that.
It's funny because you hear that. I think there was that whole thing about Baltimore and Buffalo when they played. They were calling there was this whole thing about some idiot on the radio in Baltimore calling Buffalo a city of losers. And I always laugh about that stuff because it's like, okay, so this coach and general manager who aren't from here and all these players who aren't from here, whether they win or lose defines whether or not that city is a city of winners or losers.
But Baltimore is really well run. I mean, the city of Baltimore is fantastic. I mean, with the heroin problem and everything, I mean, it's really something else.
They haven't made TV shows about how bad things are.
Yeah,
no, or read Brandon Novak's books. I mean, downtown Baltimore is just bombed out heroin addicts. So very good. That's great. I'd really be taking shots at Buffalo when you live in wonderful Baltimore, which I like. I mean, Baltimore's fine, but it's a disaster of a city. Go ahead.
Okay, so I want to get back to Liam Coen, who did not do well. Okay, and you brought up a lot of points defending people who did not do well. You're telling me Liam Coen is a good head coach and he'll captivate the room, and isn't the fool we think he is?
One last thing, you know who had the best introductory press conference I think I've ever seen? It was like a sermon. Was Matt Rule in Carolina?
Oh, really?
It was like a home run. It was he was awesome.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Joe Judge did well too.
Okay, great.
In New York. So anyway.
Okay, so you're saying it doesn't matter.
Liam Coen. All right.
Yeah.
We think he's foolish at best. How does the NFL see him? How do his players see him?
So there are people who have coached with him who are loyal to him and who will tell you he's a really good offensive mind. I do think does he have the makeup to be a head coach is a question.
Yeah.
And it was a question coming into this, and now it's going to be a question coming out of it because of the way that was handled. And then I think the handling of his exit, which we talked about at length last week, is a
red flag.
How you go from that, just dumpster fire of an exit from your old place, and now all of a sudden this is not great.
And a big part of that is,
and I like Liam, but it's it's about as messy a exit/entrance as you can have.
He was asked about it directly, whether or not the firing of the general manager had anything to do with him agreeing to take the job. And he said, no, absolutely not. It's like, okay, you got to figure out a better way to address that because everybody knows it's so obvious what happened there. And for him just to deny it and say, absolutely not, puts you under the microscope of being and automatically paints you as a liar and someone who's just going to tell blatant untruths,
right? Especially
when asked a direct question.
Especially when you can kind of work around that.
But Bert, how about this? You would know. You're in the press. What if you went up there and they said, was the firing of Balky, was it about Cousin Larry or you? Thank you. I've done the Mykonos joke. But the Perfect Strangers joke. But if they said, was the Balky firing about you, and he what would it be bad if he went, yes, I wanted to bring in people I was familiar with. I wanted a change of regime here.
Yeah, I mean,
well, how bad would that have been?
Look, I can tell you, what one of
Parcells did it.
Yeah, no, I mean, one of the people who talked to him in the couple days leading up to the decision said to him was, well, you're going to have a chance to help pick the GM? And he's like, yeah. And he goes, no one gets that. the only first-time head coach I can remember getting the opportunity to do that over the last 10 years was Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco. Other than that, that's exceedingly rare. Now, if it's an established head coach, that's different, right? Like if it's somebody coming in who's been a head coach, but for a first-time head coach, it's almost never like, oh, yeah, you picked the GM, too.
Did Aaron Glenn pick the GM in New York?
He helped, but he
wasn't the final say.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a little different.
It is different,
yeah. But I mean, yeah, it was a rare opportunity to do that, and I don't know why he couldn't just acknowledge that.
Okay, so let's, because I do want to talk about the Super Bowl.
He could have just said, he could have just said, like, no offense to Trent, but the opportunity to help pick my own general manager.
I don't want to lose the opportunity to talk about this. So you were at the Senior Bowl. You were talking to a bunch of people. The Patriots hold the 4th pick in the draft.
Yep.
Now, this is a great draft, fascinating draft. Okay, so.
It's not a great draft, but okay.
It's a great draft in terms of being interesting.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
No. It's a great draft to ask questions about because it's not obvious.
Yeah.
Nothing's obvious.
Yep.
Okay, so a bunch of questions. How many quarterbacks get taken in the top 3? If you had to estimate, and why?
1.
And who is that?
And I don't know if it's going to be Shador or Cam. Like, neither of them.
Dave Richard was like, but he is close to Miami. Dave Richard yesterday, who was at the Senior Bowl, was like full on Cam Ward's going to be the pick by Tennessee.
Pelissero had both quarterbacks going in the top 3.
Well, that's why I asked the question.
I mean, I'm saying it's possible, but I've done this enough to know. Like, I don't know that either of those guys. I know for sure neither of those guys would have been one of the first 3 quarterbacks taken last year.
Sure.
And I think there's a chance that neither of them would have been one of the first 6.
Well, Shador Sanders, some people don't think is even.
He's not physically.
It's not a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL.
Physically, he doesn't have the physical ability. Now, Cam Ward, I had someone who has been doing this a long time. Yesterday, 2 days ago, compare him to Steve McNair, which I thought was an interesting comp.
Interesting.
And if you think he's Steve McNair, then yes.
That was the comp we heard yesterday with Steve McNair.
Yeah.
Okay, so Cam Ward, Shador Sanders. Is there a way Shador Sanders falls out of the top 10?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, now here we go. Now you're sitting at 4.
Yeah.
I mean, what did he measure in at? Somebody told me, like, I have to look at, like, I don't think he measured in at the Shrine Bowl, but someone said to me, now, I don't know if this is right, but somebody said to me, is he 5'11"?
Oh, boy.
And I don't think he is, but, like, that could be a factor, too.
He ain't fast enough to be 5'11". All right, so here we are. You're sitting there, and there is talent. Now, are you hearing that Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are the Abdul Carter?
I said it on the midday show the other day. There may only be 2 real blue chip guys that are seen across the board is like this guy is worth a top 5 pick or even a top 10 pick, and those 2 guys are Abdul Carter, the edge rusher from Penn State, and the 2-way guy from Colorado, Travis Hunter. After that, I think you're dealing with sort of a grab bag.
Okay. Do you see the offensive line that a lot of people want the Patriots to draft offensive line? Do you think the draft at the top is stronger in offensive line or wide receiver after Hunter?
Offensive line, I think.
Oh, okay. So
I mean, at receiver you got Tedero McMillan.
Yeah.
Who I think, like, he's a big, strong, but would he be a top 10 pick in another draft? No, but you can say that about almost anybody.
But Mason Graham would be, wouldn't he?
So Mason Graham is interesting. Somebody I talked to a week or 2 ago was like, he's Braden Fisk.
I don't know who that is.
Do you guys know who that is? Okay, so he was the Rams' 2nd-round pick last year. Now, he's played above that. Like, he's played better than that. Like, he's a really good player. But Braden Fisk was also a 2nd-round pick last year. I think he went somewhere in the 30s. So it just sort of gives you a feel for what this draft is. Like, I think Mason Graham, if you plug him into last year's class, is probably somewhere in the middle of the 1st round.
Sure.
I'm
fine with that.
And I think Will Campbell, the same thing. Will Campbell, the offensive tackle from LSU. A lot of people think he's a guard. Calvin Banks. He got his ass kicked by Georgia.
So having the 4th pick is not great. Were you telling me he's a quarterback and those 2 players and the Patriots, those will be the top 3, and then is everybody else, and the Patriots are sitting at 4.
Well, then the thing is that, I mean, the quarterbacks can get pushed up now, right? Like, so you have within the top, the three teams in front of the Patriots all need quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you have the Raiders, who I've heard, and maybe Brady will change this, but I've heard for 3 months now that the Raiders are going to be under a mandate from Mark Davis to go get a quarterback. So does that mean they have to trade up? I think, again, like Brady has told the new people that he's going to insulate them from Mark Davis, but who the hell knows?
Well, that's a good idea. You should always have a mandate to take a quarterback in the top 10 of the draft.
I mean, it's just
regardless of talent.
It's not a very it's not a great draft in general. The quarterback class is the worst since 3 years ago when Kenny Pickett was the 20th pick. I don't know how much better it is than that year's class. And I do think there are going to be some teams at the top that are going to look at the quarterbacks and say, Shedeur Sanders isn't much better than Jackson Dart, and we can take Jackson Dart in the second round.
I agree. I think there's a chance that Sanders falls out of the first round.
See, that's why I don't think the Raiders or anyone else would necessarily have to trade up to get a quarterback. Now, if you've got one targeted, one specific, and you think that you see something in him that no one else sees, okay, that's a different story. But if you're just looking at their tangibles and the things that we've seen on the field, there isn't one that stands out.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing about Shedeur Sanders is his dad was like the generational of all generational talents. You know what I mean? Like,
who's his dad?
Like, yeah. So
no, Deion Sanders.
Just
John?
Yeah, cornerback.
That's
singer?
like the.
He rapped.
Oh yeah,
He was a
okay,
rapper.
all right, but he
Yeah.
played football.
Must be the
before he
money.
rapped.
All right, well, let's break. We're very late. Let's break, and then we can come back.
My point there was that this, like, Shedeur Sanders is like an intangibles, intelligence, toughness, all of that. The question with him is, does he have it?
Tangibles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stuff you can see.
Yeah, that's all great, but maybe for a center. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
I'll bet he's still doing that today.
That's a Fred blast.
All right, Bert's blast is we just pepper him with hard-ass questions, and he's got to answer them quick.
Yep.
All right, you guys go. What do you got?
Oh, you want me to go first?
Yes,
Fine.
Wallach.
All right.
No one's ready.
Eli Manning.
I'm ready.
Is he a Hall of Famer this weekend? Why is he a Hall of Famer this weekend?
I think he is not a Hall of Famer.
Good answer, Bert Breer. Good answer.
Blast.
Does he get elected?
I think he probably will eventually, if not this time around, because of the New York influence and how self-important people from there are, and there are a lot of them in the room.
Okay, I have a question then. If Joe Burrow never wins a Super Bowl, is he a Hall of Famer?
Joe Burrow is already a better quarterback than Eli Manning ever was.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Bert Blast.
But if he never wins a Super Bowl,
I think it's. I mean, that position they're judged on Super Bowls, but Joe is playing at. Has Eli Manning ever played at the level Joe Burrow was
Never.
at this year?
No. That's why I asked the question. Joe Burrow's a better quarterback than Eli Manning. I wonder if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, if he has like a Marino-like career.
I think it depends on how long he plays, the statistical benchmarks. I think he could still. Yeah, I think.
Do you think he'll win a Super Bowl?
I think he will.
Is the
The only thing we have to fear is
Bert Blast.
How about that?
Yeah.
How boring is this Super Bowl going to be?
Are you bored by it?
Yes.
I think it's going to be a good game.
Bert.
Just dropping all the knowledge.
Who wins and why?
Chiefs, because I made an agreement with myself to stop picking about Patrick Mahomes that I wound up breaking last week, and I'm not breaking it again. So the Chiefs win.
Bert Blast.
Who is the more talented team?
The better roster is Philly. But not by as much as people think.
Really?
Oh,
Because
blast.
if you look at their young talent, the McDuffies, the Karloftises, there's a lot of good young players. Trey Smith, who's going to be a free agent, Creed Humphrey, who they just agreed to a deal with. There's a lot of good young talent on the Chiefs roster.
Is what I'm feeling about the Chiefs being back in the Super Bowl and the just being bored of it is what the rest of the country felt about the Patriots for a long time?
100%.
Yeah.
They're the Patriots in so many different ways. In fact, like to me, hearing anyone here complain about for anybody from New England who rooted for Tom Brady, complain about the way that Patrick Mahomes is officiated is the most tone-deaf BS I've ever heard in my life.
How about Tom Brady complaining about the way that Patrick Mahomes is officiated?
Tom Brady himself, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like everyone.
I don't blame Mahomes for it, and like I don't. But like you should just take a second and consider how it sounds when people who rooted for Tom Brady complain. I was in the Ravens locker room when Terrell Suggs, and this was in like 09 or 10 or whatever it was, when Terrell Suggs yelled into somebody's microphone, "Put skirts on them." Do you guys remember that?
No.
So Brady, the Ravens lost this game to the Patriots, and they had Brady had called for how Brady used to line around and go like this, and Suggs was pissed because one of them was really consequential in the game. And he just walks up to the group of reporters and just goes off on this rant. And the line that everybody remembered was, "Put skirts on them."
Well, the NFL, and this will be the final Bird Blast, unless anyone has something they need to say.
No,
well, not forever. I mean, just for today. Will the NFL change the rule regarding sliding and hitting the quarterback?
They should, but I don't think they will.
It's time for Bert's Blast.
The reason why is because, and I kind of don't blame them for this. The quarterbacks are the game, And
but what if you're faking sliding?
And I think it should be an unsportsmanlike penalty. I think that's what it should be.
Okay,
but how do you how do you officiate that? How do you make a black and white rule?
You know what? If you're going to go take everything to replay, it's up to the judgment of. It's not a black and white rule. It's up to the judgment of the people in New York.
But how do you put it in the rule book?
You say if someone mimes the act of sliding and then continues to run.
That's a really hard thing to
They're
officiate.
open. It's their fair game next time they try and slide.
No,
That's
no,
what
it's
I
a
think.
15-yard penalty.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's like it sucks.
The sideline's harder.
What's funny is the first person. You know who the first person I can remember doing it was?
Oh, I know. Go ahead to say it.
You just can't
I can't. It just is on tip of my
Kenny
tongue.
Pickett.
Okay.
Remember in the college
In the
game?
Pittsburgh.
Oh,
when
I
he was at
remember that.
Pittsburgh and he did the
And
fake
did
slide.
the-
Yeah.
And he broke like an 80-yard run.
Yes, that's
But he
the
was
most
like-
famous. Yes.
He got like 15, 20 yards downfield. He's in the open field. There's a DB who had him lined up and dead to rights. And then he kind of like went like this. And the guy like stepped back and then he ran right by him.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have that.
I just don't think the NFL is going to do anything. And the lawyers will tell them not to do it. And the PR people will tell them not to do it. When it comes to player health and safety, especially with the quarterbacks, I just think that there's going to be too many voices in their ear saying, do not do this. Do not take a step back in that area. And it sucks for defensive players, but it's the reality of the way the league is run and has been run forever.
Good stuff.
All right, Bert, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Read them. You're going to the Super Bowl, obviously.
Yeah.
When are you headed out?
Sunday.
Okay, very good. Bert,
You guys
enjoy
aren't.
yourself. No.
Even though it's a Central Time Super Bowl, huh? I understand the Pacific Time makes no sense.
What
for
are we
you guys to go.
What are we going to do there? Honestly,
I don't know.
Is there anyone there in the morning?
Now, ironically,
It's 6 a.m.
It's it's funny because I feel like the other shows in this station are super into going, and you guys don't want to go at all.
just because there's look, I would love to be.
And I'm not wild about going either. By the way, like I think the week is kind of like I
don't mind it. I don't mind Super Bowl week. The idea of trying to do a live show from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. local time with no live guests, is kind of pointless. Now,
although it has created some pretty memorable moments for the guy to your right.
Yeah,
now.
But that was at the end. That was like at 9:59.
Yeah, and ironically, next year when it's in L.A., that could be better.
San Francisco.
Or San Francisco, is it San Francisco?
San
next year?
Francisco, then L.A. Yeah.
Oh, damn it. No, not San Francisco.
No, we're not going to San Francisco.
No,
But
L.A. 2 years from now.
L.A. But Rick is really not a fan of us taping the show. So that.
But there's going to be so many guests that we could get the day before. And
well,
have
I'm not
for the
doing a
next
show
day.
live Pacific Coast time. I'm just not doing it. It's the most depressing thing in the world. Beyond getting up, you get in there and they treat you like crap. Like you get in there and they treat you like garbage. I'm not doing it. There's
They don't want to be there either at 3 o'clock.
It's not anyone who's working there's fault. It's the people that organize the media thing. They treat you like you're nothing. Like you walk through there. The only thing they invested is security.
I do Fox Sports Radio every week. I do a show with Brady Quinn and LeVar Harrington, and I'd have to go in person to go to their set during Super Bowl week. So I'd be there at whatever it is, 4:30 in the morning the last few years, and I'm with Radio Row at 5 is the most depressing
Well,
thing.
thank you. We've done that.
I'm
yes,
not
very well aware.
No, that's what I'm saying.
And real quickly, you know who
sympathizing
got
with
it
you guys.
really, really right? The Army-Navy setup that they had when it was at Gillette. That was awesome. It was the right type of setup. And
It's at a hotel, right?
And instead of having like this free-for-all, I want to get this guest. No. They organized everything. They said, here are our marquee guests, and we're going to schedule them for you, and here's when you get them. Do you want them or not?
Dude, it's 8 o'clock. We got to go. All right, Bert, thank you so much. We'll be right back.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way on the Sports Hub.
All right, I got to tell you about this, Hardy. I know that you're a fool for love, but you want to impress your wife. And a lot of times you've struck out with gifts. I mean, you're always giving her tools and overalls. And
The fleece line flannel from Lowe's for Christmas was not a big hit.
And that actually happened. So that's why IHateStevensinger.com is the place to go.
Yeah, and you go to IHateStevensinger.com, and you don't have to overthink it. You can get their lavishly and deeply dipped in pure 24-karat gold rose, starting at just $59. It's got a signature gift box, and if you're shipping it to somebody, it ships for free. You can include a
Getting blown out in Buffalo, the Bruins came back home and got blown out again, this time by first-place Winnipeg 6-2 at TD Garden. Mark Scheifele scored twice for the Winners. His second goal snapped a 2-2 tie in the first minute of the third period. Bruins, for their part, got an early goal for Brad Marchand.
Just something we got to continue to work through. We don't have a choice to look back at, feel sorry for ourselves. Got to work on it here tomorrow and get ready for the next one.
They'll play the New York Rangers at TD Garden tomorrow. Charlie McAvoy named as an alternate captain for Team USA in the Four Nations face-off last night. Celtics will be in New Orleans to play the Pelicans tonight. Grandy and Max at the pregame at 7:30 and the tip-off at 8 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Al Horford is probable to play. Sam Hauser is questionable. Jaylen Brown yesterday voted as an Eastern Conference All-Star reserve for the third straight year last night. Patriots are reportedly going to hire Colts assistant defensive backs coach Justin Hamilton to help their defense. Ben McAdoo apparently coming back to coach the team this year, and former Patriots defensive coordinator DeMarcus Covington has been hired as the new defensive line coach by Green Bay. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the warm, hearty meals at the 99, like the freshly baked home-style chicken pot pie packed with chicken and topped with a buttery, flaky crust. You gotta love the nines. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian!
This is Boston's home for sports.
Bow, bow, bow!
98.5 The Sports Hub. Hey, if your alarm clock sounds like this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, The Sports Hub.
I ain't got the shoes.
So you had an opportunity to get shoes from that man, and he blocked it from
Well,
happening.
I think we may have worked our way around it now.
Okay, good.
But this is all about Zolak, and it's not just for him to get stuff. He wants to make sure other people don't get stuff. That speaks
wrong.
to Zoe's character.
That
I
is
think.
wrong.
And displays character a lot for saying, you know what, I want to make this right. You know, he's just trying to restore balance to the universe.
And if I could just ask you to do one thing, when Sway walked in here,
Yeah.
what did he say to me?
He said that you look a lot better in person. Which was a compliment?
Sort of. Is that how you're taking it?
Well, the picture of the show is no friend to any of us, but I got it the worst.
True.
Whoever took those pictures is I'm going to say it, an awful photographer. I mean, they couldn't be worse pictures, and I think that maybe we should retake the picture. I'm actually going to ask if we can retake the picture. Which I don't care, man, but I'm single, and I don't need females looking at that and thinking that's what I look like. I don't need that. If you guys wouldn't mind, I would like to redo that picture. It should take 5 minutes.
Sure.
Just anything that's not posed like I'm at JCPenney at the photo shop at 1985.
Wallach is, looks the same. He looks great. Is just the same he did a year plus ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you've changed. I think you definitely have dropped a few pounds. I've dropped a few pounds. I think we're due for new photos.
Yeah, and just it's you guys don't need it as much as I do. Like
you need it.
Yeah, I need it. Like I don't need people thinking that's what I look like.
25, 30 from last year?
I'm down from last year. I lost 40 pounds, but I'm down. I don't know how many from then they took the picture.
No, but Party's right. There's a clear difference. So sure, you want to have him retake them? Let's retake them.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Rick if we can. He'll freak out. I'll ask Mary.
What's he going to sound
I'll
like
ask
when you
Mary
ask him?
if we could. Oh, your ego, it's out of control. That's gonna take it with a phone. I don't care. It will be better than what's on there.
But boss, it's needed. Everyone's lost weight. We're feeling better about ourselves.
I'll have to turn on the lights in a room, and that energy bill is going to be off the charts.
Do I have to be here that day?
What do you want me to? You want me to call the guy?
No,
and eat up? How many minutes is that going to eat up?
What? You're still on a minutes plan on your cell phone?
You got to get a better phone plan, boss.
What do you mean a minute? Yeah, that's how you work your cell phone. Every minute is a certain amount of money.
Why don't you just send an email?
And then my fingers will have to. My fingers, they're precious.
All right, let's get to our Super Bowl stories. The Super Bowl countdown is on 9 days from now, and NOLA.com is reporting that ahead of Kendrick Lamar's anticipated halftime show, a group of 17 Republican Louisiana legislators sent a letter to the leaders of the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation claiming the state's taxpayers should have a say in what takes place during the game because they are afraid of another lewd halftime show like
Wait,
Rihanna put on.
this is a real thing from the government?
This is from a group of legislators.
Elected officials.
In all honesty,
And they are afraid of lewdness. We don't want any lewd.
I don't want anything lewd that gets me aroused in my trousers. I see that I have a proclivity for big booties.
if we were able to get a private investigator and go through those say there's 5 of them, go through the legislature's lives, how many of them have done something horrible sexually?
4.
All
2 to 4. I mean, it's
4.
always the people that are freak out about sex that are the worst at it.
It's worthy of noting as well, Hardy. I don't know if this was in the version of the story that you read, but it's not just a group of legislators. It's probably about 15 or so like conservative activist groups, and they make a reference to the wardrobe malfunction from 20 plus years ago.
Well, first of all, that was the worst thing that ever happened, because if you were watching it live, you saw a breast for a millisecond. And if no one had talked about it, no one would have ever seen her breast.
Yeah, just the nipple, really, because it had the jewelry around the areola.
Dude, that happened so fast. There's no way. There's no way. If you were a kid and watching that on TV, there's no way you got aroused by that. There's no way, because it happened for 1 second. First of all, why is everyone freaked out about the human body? That's another thing that's weird. But it does seem like who's the senator that was in the Minneapolis airport sticking his foot under the stall. He was a big anti-gay guy too.
He's just tapping his foot.
I
You
think
can't tap your foot under a stall
anymore. He takes a wide
anymore.
stance when he urinates.
That's
I believe
right.
that was the excuse.
Doesn't everybody?
He uses a wide stance.
I'm under the impression that at least 50% of people that are super concerned with what gay people do are fighting their own demons with it. They hate themselves for being gay.
Here's what they wrote. We realize that these past vulgar performances may have been acceptable to the residents of those states where those Super Bowls were held, but in Louisiana...
Oh, in New Orleans, which is the capital. Have they been to Mardi Gras, where beads are exchanged for human breasts and vagina?
Right up the street.
These lewd acts are inappropriate by viewing for children, objectify women, and are simply not welcomed by the majority of Louisiana parents.
Oh, they're speaking for the majority of Louisiana parents now. They know what everyone's thinking. How about don't watch the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
So I worked with a guy that watched the Super Bowl at church, and what they would do is during every commercial break they would flip it to religious programming because of the commercials were too lewd. And I worked with him, and he was a good guy, and actually He did quite a few things on the radio that took a lot of balls, but in his personal life, he's like the king of Christian radio now. But in his personal life, he would go to this church and they would censor all that stuff, which is fine. I mean, if that's what you want to do. But the idea that your main concern, and the idea that the majority of Louisiana parents give a rat's ass what goes on during that halftime show is the freak out over the Janet Jackson thing was absolutely out of control. It out of control. The amount of effect it had on me, anyone that was broadcasting at that time, is insane. I'm surprised you even took him the way you treated him.
Bye, Bert.
Have a safe trip. Anyone remember the last halftime performer, the last time they were in New Orleans? It was in New Orleans?
Certainly not Lil Wayne, who got screwed.
No. Fred, you'll appreciate this. The 5. Maroon 5.
Oh, they were so good. That did so
Adam
much for
Levine
them.
took his shirt off during that performance. Does that count as lewd behavior?
And he had a big Epiphone guitar, which is like the worst, tattooed on his body. He just had a bunch of tattoos that had no meaning on them, Oh, when he took his shirt off. The Five really made it happen that day.
Travis Scott, Big Boy, they joined in.
You know what I don't care for is male dancers gyrating and making me think about what's going on the backside. I have a problem with the male. One Super Bowl, they had male dancers with very plump, sensual lips, and I couldn't stop thinking about them wrapped around me when I was in a state of ecstasy. Get rid of them.
You ever see that Mr. Show skit where Bob Odenkirk's the Southern senator and he's monitoring Mr. Show to tell him like what's going on, and he's at this folk art festival and someone has a wood puppet that just sticks. It's like a stick puppet,
a marionette
thing, but it's not realistic. It's just pieces of wood. There's no face on it, and he's like,
well, I don't care for that at all. That's gyrating and sexualizing and making me feel things I don't care for. No. Get it away. Get it away. I know art when I see it, and I know what's not moral when I see it. And I am a state legislator, so I have been given the power to tell everyone what they can and cannot do. It's not a matter of opinion. It's a matter of common sense.
So I can't wait. Kendrick Lamar and pissing everybody off.
It's Kendrick in
front of 1 billion people. Yeah,
exactly.
It's going to sting a little.
I mean, he's got to play it.
Oh, of course he does.
They not like us. They not like
My
us.
daughter loves
They not
SZA.
like us.
I'm seeing them, Kendrick and SZA.
Oh, nice.
But I'll tell you what, if anything gets like too black or too sexy, we're out of there in 10 seconds.
Good for you.
And you know what I mean.
Yes, I know exactly what
Everyone starts acting the fool. I'm out of there.
Well, we all love the Super Bowl commercials.
Oh,
I mean, it's, we
yes.
just gather around the television set. The problem is they get spoiled ahead of time now, and now we're even getting spoiled about the spoilers. We are hearing who the commercials will be for. 2 of them movie-related. You gentlemen have to guess. One of them is rumored to be the final appearance by an action superstar in this long-running action franchise.
I'm going to say that is Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible.
That is correct.
You forget I go to the movies every other week.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. By the way, did you see the last one, or the last 2, I should say? His face now has had so much done to it, and he's kind of puffed up, and he moves a little stiffly now. I couldn't even really watch the last one. It was so unsettling.
That was
Do you care if I spoil this? If I spoil the ending of the franchise?
Nah, go ahead.
It ends in a truck stop bathroom.
Huh? Wow. Didn't see that coming.
The mission is not impossible. He knows the time and the place.
I understand.
The mission is very possible.
Okay.
There will be...
You're gonna have to sit on that one for a while. Yeah.
All right.
There will be another installment in a franchise, a huge 90s movie. This time, Scarlett Johansson is going to be one of the people essentially running for their lives from what in the latest installment of this franchise.
It's a franchise, so it's a new movie in a franchise?
Correct.
Is it? Can you give me the genre?
It's not sci-fi because it takes place on Earth, but it is... sci-fi can be on Earth. Sci-fi.
And they're running from it.
Oh, yeah. A lot of running.
So it's got to be a decent movie because Scarlett Johansson is an A-list actor.
But you can't outrun these things.
A Quiet Place?
Nope.
No.
They're not even supposed to be here.
Your Past?
They're not. These things aren't even supposed to be here, but they're here. You know, just because you can do it, no one stops to think if they should.
I don't know.
They brought them back. The dinosaurs of Jurassic Park.
Oh, Jesus.
I said on the air that I watched Jurassic Park 2 Christmases ago and I didn't like it. And the mail I got.
The ending sucks.
Well, I just didn't particularly like it.
Yeah, the ending to the book sucks too, though. So.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy the film. I don't know why that was so controversial.
Jurassic World Rebirth. Revised the series introduces Scarlett Johansson.
Only one thing gets to be reborn, and that is Christ as he appeared from the cave and said to people, I have returned.
Mahershala Ali and Jonathan
That's right.
Bailey.
That's what he said. He said, Mahershala Ali. I have returned, people of Israel. And I here decree with my last words here as a mortal on earth that there shall be no booby shaking on television. Now, you don't know what television is yet, but suffice it to say, it's going to be a tool of the devil. Now, I understand everyone has access to pornography in their pocket all times. Infinite amounts of pornography. All right, well, listen. I'll end up probably having to see that Jurassic movie, so there you go. They'll get my money. All right.
I watched one of the old Mission Impossibles the other day. It was like the second one. It was one of the early ones.
The second one's the worst one out of all of them.
It's a great freaking movie.
Anthony Hopkins, right? That's the second one.
I think he's got a role in it, maybe. I don't know, but I mean, these were like action movies with like intricate plots, and now you're watching a stiff old man try and move around and convince himself and everyone else he's not a stiff old man.
Well, I'll be stiff if that scissor starts to decide to put out a rear end and start shaking it to and fro, making it bounce, they say.
Okay.
I went into a club innocently enough called Tootsie's.
Mm-hmm.
There was a woman with the largest rump you've ever seen. She was clapping it like a pair of hands.
Really?
I was forced to go to the bathroom to relieve myself sexually. So I closed the place down. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hood.
examine your clothing choices. No more hiding under loose shirts and avoiding certain social situations. Start your new year with a more defined you. Be swimsuit ready for spring by scheduling about yourself, so make 2025 the year you take control. Go to Elite.
Package of no antibiotics ever, organic 85% lean grass-fed ground beef for $7.99 with Prime through February 4th. In-store or online. Terms apply.
Tune in tonight for the keys to...
Want to get on a few games, you feel good, rhythm's good, shots falling, I'm enjoying it.
Hello, we are Kutcher and Hardy. Cedric Maxwell.
I appreciate that. I was out to do a commercial for Cadillac.
And look at you, the high end.
We were just discussing Cadillacs off the air. That's a fine automobile.
You represent class, my friend.
Well, I'm trying to do what I can in my most humble way right now.
Yeah.
You talked last time about going to Korea to get suits made, and then after that, I received many emails from people who have done the same.
Mm-hmm.
They have gone to Korea. They get the fabric, and then they take it to Korea, and that's where it is made. So Cedric is a trailblazer. He's someone who's gotten that done. So I like that, Cedric.
Yeah, it is. It's a great experience to go out and have you custom made. But for me, at 6'8", it's different. I can't go to any local store and just pick up anything. So that's what I have to do if I'm going to get out here and try to be splendor in my attire.
I wanted to ask you, Max, about the game against the Bulls the other night, where the Celtics got out early and maintained their lead, and I think they're up 26 at one point. They only got it down to 15. Is this how the Celtics should be winning games right now? I understand a lull here or there, but wouldn't it be nicer to see them do that more consistently, especially against inferior opponents?
Yeah, I think it would be. When you see this team play, you think that they have the opportunity to win games because they have so much talent. But lately, they've been hitting on different, missing on different cylinders. I mean, D. White is just coming back to where he was. Porzingis coming back from injury. He's been really good. He's probably been your most consistent player. Brown has found his niche, taking the ball towards the hole. And Jason Tatum, I think in the last week or so, looked kind of frustrated to me. Sean Grundy, my broadcast partner, made a great point in saying that maybe it's time eventually to get Jason Tatum some rest. Jason Tatum has played basketball literally all year long, from the Olympics to the championship and then back again. And there are times when you see him really get frustrated when they don't call a foul, then he'll come down and he'll whack a guy and then go to the official. And that is, mental fatigue to me. That's not physical. It's just mentally. I think that the Celtics are going to have an opportunity to give him a break. It would be unbelievable if he did not go to the All-Star game. I know he is. But if he could have those 7 days just to get away, to go to an island and just be by himself with his family and his friends, it would be wonderful, I think, for the Celtics and him.
Yeah, I mean, I've made my peace with him arguing underneath the basket when he thinks he's been fouled going to the rim, but not getting back on defense and allowing the other team to have numbers going the other way. That's what really crawls up my backside. And I'm like, I understand you're going to argue every call, but you just, I mean, to leave your teammates shorthanded on the other end because you got your arms out at your sides asking for another foul. It's just and maybe it's what you said, Max. It's mental fatigue, and he's just so mentally frustrated. He kind of doesn't care about, not getting back on D.
I think that that's Joe Mazzulla's job, and that's one of the jobs he's going to have to take on to make sure. And Tatum has been pretty good this year, for most of the year, of stopping that. That was a bad habit last year. Then he came to, and I think a reporter asked him, he said, "You know what? I'm doing better. And I'm not going to look for the calls. If they come, they come. And I'm not going to put my teammates in harm's way by having numbers going back the other way by not getting back on the defensive end after they miss a call." So, yeah, I totally agree. And I think that the Celtics are going to have to find an opportunity and a way to give him some rest.
Overall, Max, how do you think this team's defense has been? I mean, they won easily against Chicago, but the Bulls missed a lot of wide open shots, too.
Yeah, the Bulls did miss some wide open shots, but you look at the teams lately. Devin Brooks, who is not a 3-point shooter, ends up with 10 threes in a game. There are other guys who shoot well. It seems like, and the Celtics have to understand this: when you're the world champions, you're going to get the best shot from everybody, and some players are just going to shoot out of their asses, and they have. But they have to get in, at least put a hand in these guys' face, especially for a guy like Brooks. If he gets 4, then okay. But when it's 6, 7, 8, then he should have a hand in his face.
Okay, so the other night when they did beat Chicago, it was in large part due to Porzingis going off for 26 in the first half. Are the Celtics in a position this season where they're going to need Porzingis to repeat as champions? Because they really didn't need him last year. It was nice to have him, and you're certainly not going to argue they're better without him, but will they absolutely need him this time around?
Absolutely, positively will need Porzingis. And he just gives them another weapon. When Porzingis is knocking down trays or he's posting up on the inside, defenses now have to really challenge get more people on top of him. So it gives Brown an opportunity to drive more. It gives Tatum easier looks. You can see the floor. When you're out there with Porzingis, the floor becomes huge for those guys who drive towards the rim because there's no help on the backside against a 7'5" guy shooting a 3 from the outside. You have to be a little bit more consistent with him being up on him, because see that floor opening up even more when Chicago was out there. When Porzingis gets 26 in the half, then everybody, it really just came like getting on the freeway. You just going wild.
Max, the big story in the NBA this week is the commissioner talking to Dan Patrick about possibly changing the rules of the game and shortening things to 10-minute quarters. How do you feel about that?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I know he's a commissioner, but the integrity of the game, to me, it's been a 48-minute game forever. Take it down 8 minutes. I don't really see that as a viable thing. Then it becomes college basketball 2.0. I think that, those 48 minutes, that grind that you have, and your strategy is different. So if it gets down to 10 minutes, and does that solve anything? No. I think that the NBA created a situation. Steph Curry created a situation where the 3-point shot is here to stay. And I'm not sure what 10 minutes would do instead of 12 minutes.
His point was it would streamline the game and keep it to 2 hours. Apparently the game is taking too long. Do you feel that way?
No, I don't see where it's taking that long. I mean, hell, this is not like baseball, where you're playing. You think 8 minutes is going to take off. Here's what we do. If you took away some of these challenges, I think that would be the biggest thing.
That's what I said.
Or there you go.
Or timeouts. They have too many timeouts, Max.
It is one of those things that really hurts you when you're talking about a game going, or going back to the caucus, and the game is 5 minutes going, and all of a sudden Eddie Palladino will come on and he'll go, the last shot at 15 minutes ago was that shot was no good because the guy was drinking coffee on the sideline and had his toes sticking out. So I think those things kind of disrupt the game to me more than anything else. Sometimes those foolish challenges, take away. I've said it many times on the broadcast. I'm like, here's a part of my life that's going to be taken away. 5 minutes every game for how many years I've been around, they're going to be wasted.
It's funny. I was listening to you guys the other day against, I think they were playing the Heat, and you guys came back from break and the score was different.
Oh, yeah.
Not because anything that had happened in the game, but they had taken away a 3-pointer.
And made it a 2, right?
And made it a 2.
Replay, yep.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, when it does it, it's just disconcerting sometimes as a broadcaster. As a fan, you're going, damn, we were just up 5 points. Now why are we up 4 points? Or they'll take away a 3 when they'll say, well, that guy was standing out of bounds. You're like, the referees didn't call it, but you're calling it back in Secaucus. So it becomes a little bit more strenuous when you start thinking about it.
Do you watch college basketball?
Absolutely not.
Okay, you don't. So you prefer the NBA to college basketball?
I do, because what I have is a weaker version of college basketball. First of all, I can't follow the game anymore because I don't have teams or players that I follow. In those years, those bygone years when I could follow those guys, Ralph Sampson, Elijah Wan. Now the only guy I know in college basketball is the guy from Maine. Is Cooper Flagg. I think this is his name. That's the only one I know. So the integrity of the game, college basketball game, has really diminished. And then the biggest thing that I hate is the fact that the portal, that guys can leave when they want to leave and play against you the next. I mean, players now in college, they're holding coaches hostage. And I think that's terribly unfair that you give a young man that kind of leverage over a coach or a program.
Yeah, well, they got to change it because they're going to lose all their coaches. I mean, it's already happening. Like a bunch of college coaches are leaving. Did you see Rick Pitino sitting in his office making a message for the Kentucky fans to take it easy on John Calipari when he comes back?
I did see that, yes.
Are you worried about Calipari being booed at that Kentucky game, Cedric?
Rick Pitino doesn't care less about him getting booed. I just think that's Rick Pitino being somewhat of a Budinsky in this way of course.
Yes.
You know what? Let's just take that away and stay with your own program. Understand who you are. I understand.
But no one cares about his program, so he needs to do things like this.
Whoa, there we go, right there. And Rick Pitino, that's one of the great college basketball coaches that has ever, coached. And for him to be in that place where he's at right now is a little sad.
I agree. All right, Cedric, awesome job as always. It was the Chicago game where I heard you guys do that, where we changed the score. I always love listening to you do the games, and I love when you come on the show. And Wallach's wife has told Wallach that you're her pass. So
wow.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sean Grandy told me to tell you hello.
Really? No, I'm just kidding. All right.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Why don't you give him my number? All right. Yeah, you probably will. All right.
Again? You want me to do that again?
Exactly. All right, Cedric, you're the best.
All right.
Thanks, man.
All
right, there you go.
That was quick, and that was awesome. That was good. That was good.
Yeah, he's good. He's a quick guy, smart guy.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. I put a DC in the freeze, and now I'm paying the price.
Oh, boy.
This thing's bubbling over.
Oh, look at that.
Was it a situation where it was warm and you brought it in and you wanted to freeze it up and get it cold real quick and you forgot it was in there?
He's now leaning over to slurp the bubbles off the top.
Yeah. It will not damage equipment. That I can assure you. There's not enough that will come out. I know you guys are pretty worried about that. Considering Ryan, I didn't even believe how irresponsible he was. He just spilled this bourbon all over his equipment a couple mornings ago. I'm like, I know you got to drink in the morning, but I'm like...
Yeah, he puts a heavy pour into his coffee every morning.
Well, I mean, it's about time we let him know that we know. We're accepting it.
Oh, sure. I mean, he does good work, and I think that's part of the reason why.
I mean, he's gonna have to reach his own bottom, really.
Too much melatonin comes into work. Not good. Not good.
He's taking... Not melatonin. I mean, the guy's on magnesium. Ryan, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, boys? I just want to start off by saying all the changes that have happened in the past few years, like a year adding Hardy, Adam 12. The product has been excellent, so I just want to start off with that.
Thank you, Ryan.
But Fred, I know you don't like sunny day real estate, but that's my jam right there.
Yes.
Adam, if you're into that type of stuff, you ever mess with a band called Texas Is the Reason?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, my gosh, I have 45s of theirs. I played them on college radio back in the day. Love Texas Is the Reason.
Dude, you're my man. You're right down my alley with all that.
There you go. Good Midwest emo,
also,
absolutely.
Is it?
Camping in Alaska, too.
Okay, that's a band I don't know, so I'll check them out. Thank you.
I strongly recommend it. Guitars, all the orange amps, jangly, gorgeous. Thank you, boys. I love you guys.
All right, thank you. I'll tell you this. Do you know the What's in Your Bag from Amoeba Music? It's on
course,
YouTube.
Yeah.
There's this cool thing that people might like where there's an artist, like an actor or Bill Hader did it, or a band that goes into Amoeba Music. It's this huge record store in Los Angeles, and they go and they pick out stuff, and then they talk about why they picked it out. The Get Up Kids were in there. You do not like the Get Up Kids.
Okay, I do kind of like the Get Up Kids. I don't love the Get Up Kids, but tell me about, because I've not watched it. I've seen.
Well, first
some
of all,
these,
they aged every bit of, and now they're still saying, yeah, and they're like 50. One of the guys picked out the new Paramore album, so have fun with that, dum-dum. And you know why he did that? So he seemed like he was so cool that he didn't even have to pick out anything cool.
He was doing that because they probably were doing this as part of because I saw them a few years ago. They were opening for, I think it was Jawbreaker. They did like the kind of reunion tour thing. He's probably trying to get on the Paramore tour. That's probably what he's trying to do.
Yeah, well, that will pay. They're an arena band.
They kind of are. Sneaky.
Oh, shut up.
No, I'm dead serious. Like, they put asses in seats, Paramore does. They were...
Oh, no, Paramore
yes.
is.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you meant the Get Up Kids, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? All right, so what's going on here?
You've heard of cyber stalking?
Yeah, I do it all the time.
How about cyber farting? A woman in the UK is in big trouble, Fred.
Meet Rhiannon Evans, a 25-year-old woman from North Wales who recently found herself in hot water, or should we say hot air. Rhiannon pleaded guilty to harassment after sending a series of, fart videos to her boyfriend's ex-partner, Deborah Prethuk.
What is it? Harassment or harassment?
Hey!
It sounds more like a favor. I'm sorry I took your boyfriend. Please enjoy these farts. And there was no eBay where you had to buy the jar?
No.
What's
the point?
Yeah, a Ziploc bag ain't gonna hold it, sister. All right, if you send some socks along with it, I'll take it.
According to prosecutors, Rhiannon sent not one, not two, but 7 videos of herself breaking wind over the course of a few days. In the first video, she reportedly placed the camera on her bottom and let it rip, all while smiling at the camera. The recipient, Deborah, was understandably not amused.
Was the camera on her ass or her face? How was she smiling? What is she, a contortionist?
Bottom and let it rip.
Okay, I'll tell you. How could it be on her face and on her ass at the same time?
You position it, you hold it down low, so you get, it's an upshot. It's an artistic shot.
An upshot?
Is that like upskirting?
Yeah, well, you just put a mirror on your shoe. Duh.
In a victim statement, she expressed how the videos caused her distress and anxiety.
Oh, my. Well, I mean, listen. Life is tough, but it shouldn't have to come to that.
Just
Like
say
hearing
so.
someone fart.
Victim statement or lucky recipient statement?
Or a statement of admiration and adoration. I can't think of it.
And made her feel unsafe in her own home.
Oh, shut up. Then, you know what? When I was in middle school, I was guilty of several felonies with all the fart tapes that I've made. The Descendants in Joy album should be now under federal investigation. There's a hidden track which is just literally them farting.
Rhiannon, however, claimed she sent the videos because she felt her partner was being treated unfairly in a child custody dispute.
Oh, that's how you get the kids back.
Yes.
Really know that you can let
Just
it
the
rip.
kind of environment you want the judge to give the kids to.
Well, it shows that she has a healthy diet. There's broccoli and everything.
And she was smiling.
All while smiling at the camera.
Right, so this is a happy home.
Yeah.
that the kids would be in.
She knew this was going to a judge, and she wanted him to see just how together she was.
Yeah.
Prosecutors argued that Rhiannon's actions were purely malicious, pointing out that she seemed to find the whole thing hilarious. But her defense lawyer had a different take, stating that Rhiannon had been drinking at the time and didn't realize the impact her actions would have. The magistrates didn't take the case lightly. Rhiannon was ordered to complete 15 rehabilitation sessions, undergo 60 days of alcohol abstinence monitoring, and pay £100 in compensation to Deborah. She was also slapped with a 2-year restraining order.
On what? What's the safe
what?
word? With a fish? To the bottom?
15 classes of therapy and undergo a course of Beano along with antibiotics.
She was also slapped with a 2-year restraining order.
And also a lighter in which to make blue blazers.
Up the ante.
Yeah. Dear, if you're going to make these fart videos, at least light them. Did you make... excuse me, yes, I'm going to give you 15 hours of alcohol abstinence, and I'm going to request the garments you were wearing while you were farting.
I'm going to hand this to the barrister that can pass it along to you, that you must carry this with you at all times.
Just to demonstrate, please allow me to take my white wig off and let you sit upon it and break wind. For I am nothing, I am humiliated. As you can see, as of the barrister, I am nothing, I am human scum. Could you please break wind on me?
She was also slapped with a 2-year restraining order and banned from contacting her victim. Now, this case has sparked a lot of questions. Is cyber farting really a crime? And most importantly, how did this even become a thing? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Oh, well, that's got to be a lot of
I'm
fun.
glad you asked how it became a thing.
Yeah.
The guy at Walmart set the standard. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
That
he
guy at
farted into the
Walmart
thing at
set
Walmart.
the standard.
Well, it's good to know that our priorities are in the right place, that this woman is finally in the taxpayers of Britain, where the tax rate is like 75%, that this is what the money's going to. I had anxiety afterwards. Guess what? We all have anxiety. Do you have anxiety? Oh, so you're human.
Jesus.
Yeah, go back to the time of the Buddha. They were trying to figure out how to get the thoughts out of their head, too. And there was no online farting then. I like that. It caused me anxiety. Well, guess what, lady? We're all having anxiety.
Yeah. Y'all, you rocked back and forth crying in a fetal position in your own home because you felt unsafe. That's Tuesday. I do that every day when I leave.
Just like that, it caused me anxiety. Well, guess what? There's 5,000 things a day that cause me anxiety. And if I went out and sued all of them, I'd have no time. Ugh. You know? I'm going to sue the prescription line at CVS for making me angry.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll be back.
Anxiety-free block coming up. Kendra's here.
I can't promise that. Now I'm all worked up. Kendra will be here. We have a contest, a big contest that we need people to join.
Yeah, we do.
I think Jack from the Prius is going to join. He was kind enough to do that. So I know we got one guy.
All right.
There's a guy named Ryan who calls the midday show too, who has been very open about his. I think a friend of his, the friend's stepmother, he's been involved with.
Interesting.
All right, so do everything you can to get him involved. We're gonna have to get, I think, deeply involved in this thing to get some people in here.
I was assured that we would be turning people away. We would have to pick and choose.
I don't know if you've ever done a contest before, but when it's not that easy. All right, so we'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy.
So it's tough.
As of this morning, the Bruins are 1 point behind Tampa Bay and Columbus for the 2 wildcard spots in the East. They host the Rangers tomorrow. Charlie McAvoy returned to the lineup last night, and before the game, he was named an alternate captain for Austin Matthews on the USA team in the Four Nations face-off. Celtics open up a 3-game road trip in New Orleans tonight. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 7:30 and the tip-off at 8 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. For the third straight year and the fourth year overall, Jaylen Brown last night added as a reserve for the Eastern Conference in the All-Star game. Former Celtic and current Miami guard Terry Rozier is under federal investigation in connection with his part in the game between Charlotte and New Orleans in March of 2023. Patriots are reportedly going to hire a Colts assistant defensive backs coach Justin Hamilton. He will help the defense. ESPN is reporting that offensive assistant Ben McAdoo will remain on staff as well. And former Patriots defensive coordinator DeMarcus Covington is the new defensive line coach in Green Bay. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Village Automotive. Village Auto is looking for 8 technicians to join their team. It's time to put your skills to work where they're truly valued. Visit villageautomotive.com/careers to grow your career and your paycheck today. That's villageautomotive.com/careers. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Is elongating.
Weekday morning.
Here goes Hardy.
Toucher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Let's roll the dice.
The Sports Hub.
Of somewhere in the morning. But in honor of Bill Belichick, who is so old, and Kendra, you like older guys. What was your feeling on Bill Belichick?
I would not touch him with a 10-foot pole.
Because he's ugly.
The thought, not to be vulgar, but the thought of that body anywhere near me shirtless makes my skin crawl.
Okay, but like, what if you're not? Do you know any of the older like handsome actors?
Yeah. Do you consider Riley Cooper? Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper.
Do you consider him older?
No.
Okay, well then I guess not.
But could you see like someone being with like a suave like art dealer that was 70 years old and was
For
traveling
sure.
to Morocco and stuff?
Is Liam Neeson old?
Yes.
Okay, then I would more likely be with someone like that.
Sure.
I'm looking up older actors. Is Brad Pitt old?
Brad Pitt doesn't count for anything. Brad Pitt's the most beautiful
He was
human
born in
being in the world.
1963.
Yeah, I know. He's way older than me, but he's also like a perfect specimen.
Liam Neeson is 72.
Yeah. Okay. So that's my point. So my point is this: we don't have to get that much into it. My point is this: is that Belichick's gross. That's the reason that it's so
Belichick's
weird.
age.
Like he looks like a grandfather.
He also has moves.
Yes.
Yeah, bad ones.
Yeah. All right. So here's the deal: is that in honor of Bill
The cutoff
Belichick?
sweatshirt stays on during sex.
No, it doesn't. You saw the ring camera. He was shirtless.
True, yeah.
He was out on our front porch,
Oh, my
desperately looking around, confused for his car. All right, so here's the deal. In honor of that May-December romance, we're looking for people with May-December romances. Now, is it the woman is a GILF or a MILF, and she is with a much younger man? Or is it which is someone who's entering the contest? That is the situation. I believe the woman is older.
Okay.
Or is it an older gentleman who has found true love with someone much younger than him?
You talking about me personally?
Yeah. That's why we're doing this contest, so I can make fun of you more.
No.
Did you bond over a love of philosophy, and did you write your number in their textbook? That's what you have to think about. Did you tell people not to use social media? Now you're going around taking pictures at corn mazes and dressing up for Halloween like a simp. That's what we're looking for. But look, this is a fun thing. No, we're not looking to attack anyone. So here's the deal. Steven Singer Jewelers, I Hate Steven Singer. Valentine's Day is coming up. They have got a grand prize for us, the Wrapped in Love collection. Now listen to this. You can give your loved one, or if you're the lady, you can keep a necklace. This includes a necklace, bracelet, and 2 gold-dipped roses from Steven Singer Jewelers. This is a big jewelry prize that we'll be giving away. But for all 5 couples, if we get 5 couples, all 5 couples that come up will be getting the gold-dipped rose, which I know off the air, Kendra's a huge fan of. There, you can go to the contest page at 985thesportshub.com. And this lends the question to you, Kendra. We might have been over this before, but you have had a May-December romance in your life, have you not?
Yes.
Okay. What is the ideal age for a man for you, if there was an ideal age, if you just had to pick it out?
Right now, I guess probably between like 35 and 40 if I were looking for someone. Just because I don't really want kids unless someone's like willing to adopt. They probably already have kids that are like younger type of thing.
So you want a married guy with kids? A divorced guy with kids?
Or someone who's open to adopt. Like,
sure.
Yeah, that's probably where I'm at. Especially because I don't really want to be a step-parent to teenagers. That sounds miserable because then they hate you.
I don't know if that's true. Not if you're cool.
But Zoe's cool. Like I get that. Like she would be fine with it. But like most teenagers
are you referring to my daughter?
Yeah.
Have you imagined us getting married and you becoming a parent to Zoe?
Just imagine that for a second.
I'm saying you feel that way because Zoe's cool.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll tell her that you
Zoe
said
and
that.
Milo are both cool. Like they're cool kids. Like without anything else involved.
Dude, look at their dad.
Yeah.
What do you think they were going to be? Squares?
Milo can dunk.
He can. He can dunk. Thank you.
But I'm just saying, like, most teenagers are a-holes. Like, you don't get that lucky. Like, would if you started dating someone right now, would your kids be keen?
Oh, no.
There you go.
Well, a thing that I want to ask the couples when they come in, and you go to the contest page at 985thesportshub.com to talk about this, is that one of the things is introducing someone to your kids, as Kendra brought up, and that is something that can become a problem because you really shouldn't introduce someone to your kids unless you know you're going to be with them for like a really long time. And so, because it is a big deal. And then, so you get a lot of, oh, you're a great dad. Oh, you're such a great dad. But, and then I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? The reason you think I'm a great dad is because when I'm kids all the time and I can't introduce them to you because I don't know where we're going to be 6 months from now.
Exactly. That's part of being a good dad.
Yes, exactly. So it is a bit of a catch-22.
So you said 6 months? Is that how long you would wait?
No. I'm saying like after 6 months, people will be like, start pressing me. Sometimes after 2 months, people will start pressing me, not so much to meet the kids, but to spend more time with me, which is impossible because I'm with the kids so much.
How long would you wait to introduce your kids to your significant other?
Me?
Yeah.
First of all, I'd have to be like in love with them. Like that like feeling of like absolute love. I'd have to be in love with them, so I don't know. Like, I don't know. If I was like enamored with someone and like totally in love with them, it would be completely different. Like, I'm not going to wait out a year with someone I'm not like in love with and then go introduce them to my kids. You know what I'm saying? I can only date one person at a time as it is.
That older guy that I was seeing like 2 years ago who was like, I think he was like 36 and he had 2 kids. He introduced me to his kids after a week and I thought that was crazy.
You should have broken up with him immediately.
Whoa. We did not. We lasted maybe 6 to 8 weeks or something like that.
I'll tell you this, and I don't think I'm speaking out of school. My wife and I have both not introduced our kids to anyone, and we'd be separated for over 2 years. So, like, I mean, it's a big deal. We feel. You can do whatever you want, but we feel it's a big deal. So for that to happen, I would have to be like over the moon. So that would be do you see how the conversation in this room will not be judgmental?
I feel kind of good that I was allowed to be a part of a trip that you and Milo took because, this is a relationship, Fred. And,
you're my on-air husband.
Hey. Work wife.
Oh, God.
But he's in
Are
love
you
with you.
Strangle everyone that says that?
He's deeply in love with you, Hardy, so you have nothing to worry.
Hardy and Milo vibed on that video like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Oh, that was like good jazz. We were back and forth.
He was being tough on Milo, and Milo knew the joke.
Yeah.
So I was very happy with that. That's at Fred Toucher and at Toucher and Hardy and at Hardy 98.5. So anyway, May-December romances.
Now, once the couples are in here, are we going to be judging, and will the winner be the person that we decide is going to stick together the longest?
I think it will be no, because that's unfair. I think it would be who has the most interesting relationship.
No chemistry involved, just interesting.
Not how well they know each other, that kind of thing.
You guys should do like a quiz of random things they know about each other.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea. There could be a couple. We're going to do a couple segments.
Hosted by Riz Wallach.
Almost like a newlywed game for the May-December couples.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, because Wallach is married to a 25-year-old, and he's 70.
Is that weird bird magic
Maybe
or
it's
something?
Maybe it's just magic in general, Kendra.
Maybe it's a quiz about each person about the year the other person was born.
There you go.
There it
That's
is.
one part of it.
There it is.
Good.
Okay.
But it can't be just the age difference because then we get 5 people in here and it would be whoever's has the biggest age difference. But there just has to be an age difference, and there's different things that we can do about that. Who's the oldest guy you've ever dated?
Define date.
That you ever liked and went out with?
I was
more than once.
25 and he was 46, or I did go out with a guy when I was 18 and he was 38.
Yeah, that's not so great.
That's not. Yeah.
One of the rules of this contest is you had to have met as adults, because I don't want a grooming situation here.
Yeah, it gets a little dicey.
38-year-old have kids?
Yeah, 2 of them, and he hid them from me. And I went over there one day and I opened the hall closet and all their crap fell out.
How old were the kids at the time?
Probably like 2 and 5.
Okay.
It's better than the kids falling out of the closet.
I mean, like we'd been seeing each other for like a month.
I fell
so
out of the closet when I was 10.
I feel like that's long enough for you to be like, yo, I'm a parent.
Sure.
Well, I think if you're hiding the fact that you have children from someone, that's not
the
a
red
great
flag
sign.
of red flags. It's
But I
time to
was
go.
18. I had no idea.
Yeah, he was also dating an 18-year-old, which is pretty inappropriate.
Well, he was in the military, so.
So he was
I
a
feel
great guy.
No, guys in the military just want to get married like so fast to like anybody or anything, I feel.
Why are you putting yourself down?
Hey, it happens. At least I'm
Okay.
a realist.
All right, so you could have been a part of this contest at one time, not so much the 18-year-old relationship, but when you were 25 with the 40-year-old, you could have been in this, or 46-year-old or whatever it was.
yeah.
You could have been in this contest.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. So what about, I'm trying to think of things. What is dating a younger guy like?
Scary, because here's the difference that I found with dating people who are relatively close to my age is that there's so many apps involved. There's, are they following these OnlyFans girls on Instagram and liking all of their pictures so that my friends can see it? Who are they Snapchatting? Are they still on dating apps? There are literally apps now that look like calculators where you can hide your ex-girlfriend's nudes. Like, there's just so much crap that you have to worry about with, like, technologically savvy people that it's just overwhelming and it's too much. I would rather date a guy who has no social media whatsoever than someone who just is... I can't do all of that. It's too stressful.
Aside from this, okay, so that's the problem with dating someone your age or younger. What is what is the pitfalls or advantages of dating someone older?
They don't give a crap about anything. It's like they go to work, they come home, they have their hobbies, and that's it. Like, that's what I like.
You understand the issue, though. If you were to meet this person who has no social media whatsoever, they're going to look upon what you do and what a lot of us do with all this stuff as being so pointless and such a waste of time that it's like, how are you gonna bond in a relationship?
I haven't really met anybody who cares that much. Like, when I have been casually dating, which isn't a lot in the last couple of years, I've probably been on like 5 first dates in the last 2 years. But usually they don't care. Like, they don't care at all. It's like, I don't have to look at it. I don't have to see it. They don't have to see any of the cringe videos I put out or any of the weird stuff I do online. And especially because going into the date, they don't know anything about me in the same way because they don't follow me. They don't watch all the ridiculous stuff I do online. And I kind of prefer that. Like, I would just like to be weird and you not know how weird I am.
Are you different in person than you are online?
You answer that question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think everyone is, because you're putting on a performance, even on the radio, like you're putting on a performance. You're not the same way off air as you are.
Yeah, I feel like that is a big thing, is that people don't like me off of the rip, but once they get to know me, they like me better.
Yeah. I think that's fair to say.
Hardy.
Sure.
Oh, Hardy loves
I don't
you.
I don't actively dislike you anymore, if that's what you mean.
No.
Oh, Hardy
Just
doesn't
anymore.
Hardy doesn't dislike you.
What made you like me a little bit more?
I just got worn down. I was told you were going to be here every week, whether I like it or not. So, it's just acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put my foot down. I said,
It's like a glacier. It's slowly moving towards.
Yeah.
I put my foot down. The whole show was like, no more Kendra. And I'm like, I quit.
You're the best.
Please. How dare you?
I don't actively hate you.
Well, Kendra,
That's great.
start dating an old guy and get involved in this contest. So anyway, we're looking for May-December romance. Is it a young man with an older woman? Even your stepmom, which I hear on the Ex-Hamster is a big thing going on.
Oh, God, I haven't heard Ex-Hamster in a decade.
That's my favorite porn site.
Maybe you should.
Really?
Yeah, because it's not as gross. Like the chances of you running into something that is like disturbing is a lot
Do you
less.
remember like at any of the like really old school ones? There was one that was called 89.com.
No.
Oh my God. And there weren't even thumbnails on it. There were just like tiny little button bars of descriptions, and it took so long to download. And,
Well,
you know,
I don't
after
remember
a while,
that.
it's like, is it even worth it? Yes and no. I
Yeah.
mean, you would never suffer through it now, but, you know, in the infancy of the internet, sure, you got to do what you got to do.
Well, John and I are OGs. John, what was the first page?
Oh, it's Danny Ash. It was,
DannyAsh.com. She was
DannyAsh.com.
that woman made so much money because she was the first
she was
lady
the first
on it.
one. Yep, there was a roulette wheel of women. You could click on the photo. Yep.
Did you guys have to buy magazines back in the day?
I've never bought a porn magazine. I'm too scared to. Like I'm too embarrassed to do it.
Why? You literally
Really?
you talk to thousands of people for a living.
I'm afraid to go up to women in public and talk to them because I feel like they're disgusted by me. I swear to God, I can't go up to a stranger woman and talk to her.
You know what?
Why would I lie?
I do.
That doesn't
believe
make me look good.
I don't believe.
I swear
I do
to
believe him.
I swear to God, if I was at a bar and like a woman was like looking at me and I was going up to talk to her, I have no idea what I would say.
I've hung out enough in bars with him. I don't think that's true. I mean, I think he's telling the truth.
I'm a good date. Like if I'm sitting down and we're there for a reason, like I'm really fun on a date. Obviously, I'm like funny and everything. But like going up to a stranger, my first thing with men and women, you know, I don't trust men very much. We've talked about this. But my big thing about I think whenever I go up to someone, I swear on my parents, I feel when I go up to someone, anyone, man or woman, to talk to them, their reaction to me is get away. I honestly think that. I think that they don't want me there and I'm bothering them. I feel like I'm annoying people.
I feel
honestly.
like that's internalized.
Well, no kidding. I have a mental problem.
That was a layup right there.
Yeah,
it was internalized.
I'm a maniac,
Yeah.
but I'm working through this, but I have now come, since I've been sober, I realized another part of why I was drinking is because it was the only way I could go and communicate to people when I was out. I could get up on stage, Kendra, in front of 50,000 people and do comedy and be fine. But like going up to someone with the idea of being their friend, a guy, or going up to a woman and being like, you must, I would think that she's like, look at this piece of garbage talking to me. And you know what, Hardy, you could tell yourself 99 times out of 100. That's what they're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anyway, so go to the contest page at 98.5 thesportshub.com. We're really, Steven Singer's going to be here, so do us a solid and sign up for this.
I just got an email from somebody. I think we may have another contestant.
That would be
I'm gonna
fantastic.
reply
It
to
will
this
be a
person
lot of
right
fun. We're not looking to attack anyone. We're just looking to have some fun. So please do that. All right, well, Kendra, the Super Bowl's coming up. We'll start talking to you about sports and gambling and Duval and all those things.
Oh, man.
In just a moment.
Toucher and Hardy. work with Hardy and Waller.
What a golden ticket I've gotten.
There you have it. Toucher and Hardy resumes on the Sports Show.
How do we make this as much about the players and making this about bringing out the best in you? That's what this is about. Jacksonville, the community, Duval.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Real quick. John, go ahead. John, what's up?
Hi. How you doing? First time, long time. First time, then obviously. Really interested in this for a contest.
All right, you're breaking up, but he joined the contest. He's signed up for the contest.
Oh, good. Okay.
So that's good to know.
Good.
John,
Great.
your phone was breaking up. I would love to hear your story, but
Great.
when you're in studio, I'll hear all about it. How'd you do last week, Kendra?
I missed the under on the Commanders-Eagles game, and I missed Jalen Carter. And other than that, we had a good week.
Boy, did you miss the under, I think. Jesus, you missed that by halftime.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Okay, what when it's not football season, what do you enjoy gambling on, or what are you the best at?
Formula One, probably European soccer, and I had a pretty good golf year actually last year.
Oh boy! All right, so let's
Kendra
get
and I
into
talked
it.
a lot about the golf stuff, and like it's really about the top 5 finishes.
You see Shane Lowry yesterday? Hole in one?
Oh yeah, and Rory had a hole in one yesterday.
Yesterday was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say probably Formula One, golf, soccer.
Huh?
There's a big handle on golf.
Have you bet the indoor league that Hardy's very into?
Oh yeah, the
Can you bet the TGL?
I'm sure you can. I watched, but I didn't even try to gamble
Do you
on
enjoy
it.
the product as much as Hardy does?
I actually really like it. I don't hate it. You don't like it?
Points off for you. Good Lord.
It's silly.
I've
It's
watched.
different.
I've watched. It's been on for 4 weeks. I've watched big chunks of 3 of the weeks.
You forgot one week. I had to remind you.
Well, then on Monday it was on at 6:30.
That's just it.
And you had to
That's
remind me it
perfect.
had already
ESPN
started.
has now found that it's not good for prime time, so they get it out of the way early.
Their audience goes to sleep at 7. Yeah, so they need to get that. They need to start it the earlier the better. I mean, they've already had dinner 4 hours before.
Tiger Woods and Tom Kim, electric personalities. They just light up a screen, don't they?
If you're Tiger Woods, it's got to be difficult to have a mic in front of you, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like after all this stuff, which wasn't even that bad.
Yes.
So he got kind of vilified for things that weren't his fault. All right, so I mean, he didn't bother anyone else. All right, so here's the deal, Kendra. What are your thoughts of the championship games, and are you upset about this matchup?
I am upset about this matchup just because I'm so sick of the Chiefs. But you knew that this is how it was going to be. Like you knew.
Do you think that they're in on the Chiefs, the league, the officials?
It's hard not to. It's really hard not to. I hear Big Jim talk about it a lot. Dan and I have talked about it a lot. I think that it benefits them a lot after this casual consumer, because of the Taylor Swift thing, is now tuning into the end. I went home to Jacksonville for like a week or two before Thanksgiving, and I saw little girls in the grocery store in Travis Kelce jerseys. Like, the casual fan definitely is going to be tuning into this game because of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sure. I mean,
This is probably what bothers Patriots fans more than anything. Not only do they have a chance to get themselves really into the conversation about being, as good a dynasty, or Patrick Mahomes being as good as Tom Brady, but they're doing it and still getting people to cheer for them along the way. And people were not cheering for the Patriots outside of New England during their dynasty.
They don't have an incredible, intolerable a-hole as their coach, which might help. Now, I'm no fan of those commercials.
I think there are several factors, but the main one is there are just randoms out there cheering for the Chiefs, and they like Patrick Mahomes, and they like Travis Kelce. And
how do you like Patrick Mahomes?
How do you like Travis Kelce?
I don't like anybody on that team. I hate that entire team.
Mahomes? Why wouldn't you? He's not offensive at all.
A bit of a flopper in the divisional round, but and there are times when I outside of that, I can't think of anything that really I find dislikable about him.
He is a flopper, but here's my thing. And this is off the field stuff, so I don't really care. I try not to hold people's families against them because that has nothing to do with them. But here's the thing. When your wife also sucks, your brother sucks, your dad sucks, your mom sucks. It says something about you because the partner you chose sucks.
Yeah, but he's also been able to corral them.
He's normal despite all of that.
Yeah, I think that's more of a benefit.
Incredible.
No, I don't think so because like I said, you can't choose your family, but you choose your partner, and your wife blows.
Okay, you know why they got married? Patrick Mahomes is very ugly. So
I don't think so.
Oh, Kendra, please. So he's super
Are
ugly.
you the one who's attracted to dudes here? I would say I am the only one. So
If he wasn't a quarterback and you ran into him, you would think he was attractive.
Yeah, so I can't go look at the statue of
I'm
David
not
and
going to
be
say
impressed.
he's attractive. I'm going to say he's not ugly. He's like a 7.
That's two different things now.
I also think that he's uglier because he's a professional athlete.
Okay, so anyway, he's ugly. So what happens is, and he's got this terrible family.
Fred likes dudes.
Sure. Yeah, okay.
Cut him to the quick there.
Yeah, I know, Kendra.
Wow.
How dare you? And so...
What are you, gay?
You and Zolak would get really...
Wow.
So, all right, so...
Got him.
So here's the deal. Those are the insults he throws. All right, so here's the deal. So he's super ugly. So he's in college, and this girl that at the time...
They're high school sweethearts.
Okay, even better. So in high school, she goes, oh, look, this guy's got something going on. I'm going to latch myself onto him. And Mahomes is like, I have this terrible family. I have no one to turn to. She ingratiates himself to him. Now she's his family. They get through college, they get married, and that's how you get
On
him.
top of that, their kids' names are like bronze, sterling, and titanium or some crap. Like, that's annoying. That sucks.
Those are medals.
Those are their kids' names.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool. He's probably into
Regardless, I don't think the Patriots fans should
Probably
be
into
bothered.
Whitesnake.
I don't think Patriots fans should be bothered by this or
Rest in peace,
intimidated
John
or
Sykes.
whatever because sure, Brady didn't win the Super Bowl against them for the Patriots, but dude was 40-something slinging, Brady's the GOAT. It's not even a conversation.
It's not a conversation now. It's just if he wins the Super Bowl this year, now he's on track to do something.
Agree. I said this last week. I'm gonna rock with the Chiefs. I hate to say it, but this happened to me last year. Me and Dan went into this entire thing about how everyone was on the 49ers last year. 55% of the public money on the Eagles this year. Everyone's gonna continue to be stupid and bet against Patrick Mahomes, but I will not be caught dead doing so until it doesn't work out for me.
Kendra, in big games, do the public root for who they want to win?
I would say the money is usually in games like this where people's hearts are at, but Patrick Mahomes is undefeated on neutral sites. Like, I don't consider the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl. I don't think a lot of people do because that's not a neutral site. So he's undefeated in neutral sites. His postseason numbers are ridiculous. I get that Saquon Barkley is obviously the roster for the Eagles as in totality is probably the reason outside of the fact that people are sick of the Chiefs that the money is where it is. But
Bert contends that the Kansas City roster is not that much worse if it is worse at all.
I think the experience is the edge for them. I don't think that their roster is because the Eagles have drafted so well the last couple of years. That's the difference for me, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Their rookies always consistently hit, and they always consistently are difference makers in games. So it's a roster thing. I do think that Spags is going to absolutely shut down. I don't think there's no way to absolutely shut down Saquon Barkley, but considering the conversation, I think that that's going to be the difference maker is that they're going to make Jalen Hurts beat you. And this is not the Jalen Hurts that we saw the last time that he was in a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts is down right now. He's hurt on top of that. So I think that they're going to make Jalen Hurts either be the Jalen Hurts of old or beat you in a way that we haven't seen in the postseason so far. On top of that, I was doing some research earlier. The Eagles haven't there's been no turnover problems for Jalen Hurts in this postseason. And the last time that's happened was the Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl, the 28-3 postseason for them. They lost that game, and 2 times prior for the Eagles, and they wound up losing the Super Bowl the last time they did that against the Patriots. So that history doesn't bode well for them. I think because they're coming off of such a huge game last week, this is a fade the Eagles spot. Like last week was a divisional game. It was a massive game for them, especially on the offense. I think that this is a fade the Eagles spot.
Okay, so in other Super Bowls, you can see how the line might be artificially affected by both the favorite and the more offensive team. And generally, that will be the favorite, the team that is considered to be the stronger team offensively. This is a 1.5-point spread. The Chiefs are not the team they were on offense 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. So has the line been affected by, let's just start with the Chiefs, since they are the favorite. Is this maybe even a little more even than it should be because the books expect more money to be coming in on the Chiefs?
I don't think so. I think it's more so just the fact that it is Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Again, I think that this would be a different number, obviously, if this was a different opponent. But I think the Eagles should be favored, but they're not because it's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. But it has nothing to do with what the betting public is going to be putting their
I don't
money
think
on.
so, no.
Okay. All right. That's
I personally don't think so. But I will say this is one of those games where I feel like people can get a little cute, people can get a little stupid. And I'm going to say I get that betting the Super Bowl is fun. There are going to be random gamblers out there who don't gamble any other time. Don't throw your money away. Don't do stupid stuff. I get that it's easy. But if you really want to make money and have fun, there are ways to do both of those things.
Do you want to know how highly Kendra thinks about me?
Well, how's that?
I texted her while I was in Detroit, and it was the day after I'd hit that big overbet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, like, do you have any suggestions for what I should bet on today? And she goes, well, first of all, she goes, don't bet on one thing. Spread your money around and don't, like, lose all your money. And I said, Kendra, you think I don't know that?
Well, he texted me asking me for bets as if I wasn't on y'all's show 2 days prior and didn't give them out.
Yeah, I didn't remember.
I don't remember.
We didn't take notes.
I mean, that's fine. That's totally fine. But if you text me asking for bets when I told you what my bets were 2 days ago, silly. But yes, I did say that to Fred. But I did start the conversation off with, "Are you addicted now?"
Yeah, she thought I was addicted to gambling.
And now the answer is clearly no.
No, I don't get that much rush out of gambling.
How about this one? I'm just now checking it for the first time. This is a bet I make every single year.
You bet on the NFC and the Pro Bowl games?
No. Will there be an overtime?
I don't think so.
There was one last year.
Yeah, we've had it twice now. Then the 2 times it's hit, it is paid for every year I've been making this bet for the last 20 plus. It's at plus 1,300. Yes.
I don't hate that. I mean,
that's a good number.
That's one of those, fun bets. I will say what I'm looking at.
Put $4 on it.
MVP odds are something that I think everyone's going to gamble on just because that's where things get super long. I like the DraftKings is offering it by position instead of by player. So if you like a quarterback, which I think it is going to be a quarterback, it usually is, it's minus 250. And that way, if there's an injury, somebody has a bad game, whatever, you get the option either way. I don't think that that's bad. They have it for every position. So I'm probably going to be putting money on that, especially because if you are in the same boat as me and you think that Spags is going to make Jalen Hurts throw to win the game, there you go. And plus, whether it's Travis Kelce, whether it's a receiver, something like that, they have to rely on the quarterback to get it done. And if it is the Chiefs, it's not going to be anybody but Patrick. If you like the Eagles, I would say probably if you're looking for a long shot, go for some sort of defensive something because that's probably where your money is going to be at. So I know we're out of time. I will send you guys a list of my bets for next week because I won't be here.
Oh,
sorry.
It's really disrespectful.
Skipping out on the Friday before the big game.
I know. Yeah, I have a couple now. I'm gonna definitely go on the Dallas Goedert overs. I'm going for the Chiefs. I'm gonna go for the quarterback thing that I just gave out, and I'm probably gonna go with Devonta Smith because he's a Louisiana kid and the odds are good. So Dallas Goedert and Devonta Smith are my long shots for the Eagles.
Okay,
I like that.
All right, Kendra, thank you so much. How can people get in touch with Kendra Middleton?
You can follow me everywhere at Kendra Middleton and on Twitter at Kenny with an I Middleton.
You can see her get injections into her face.
Yes, I've seen that video.
She gets injections all over her face. And it doesn't even do anything so much as the pain is the thrill.
Going a little crazy. Yeah.
You think?
No, I'd say you were going a little crazy while you were getting the injection.
Oh, because my esthetician's my friend.
Okay.
If you get migraines and you've never gotten Botox for your migraines, 10 out of 10 recommend.
Okay. Well, there you go. I mean, certainly I've had my share of Botox. I can't have this forehead being wrinkly. I gotta stay young.
It's working.
Thanks, man. You know what?
We didn't even have time to get into Liam Coen.
Oh, no. I forgot about it. All right, Kendra, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it. And when we come back... Oof.
That's a winner.
He's fixed it, though. The coach is coachable.
Duval.
Much better. He sounds just like James Stewart. It's good.
I hate them both.
Yeah.
I like him, though.
It's a really dumb chant, too. All right, very good. We will be back.
It's a gang thing.
Yeah, sure. The big gangs of Jacksonville. All right, we'll be back. Yeah, what did they kill ducks? All right, we'll be back. Here are the headlines.
Oh, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Hey everyone, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Hardy, as we get over this Friday, Mr. Slate, ring that horn so I can slide down my dinosaur and into my car and home to just take it easy. Baby. Thank you.
Well, you're going to be sliding into your weekend, but Adam 12 is sliding into what he can do for free this weekend.
Delightful.
So we have a couple of different options here for Adam 12. You have to guess whether these are things that Adam 12 will actually do or not based on cost.
Now, he's expressing himself not verbally in this. Is he expressing himself through his instrument of choice, as I requested?
Do you have that page, Hardy?
You're going to have to turn that. Am I controlling this
No,
music?
we can do
or
both.
I have the music.
I think
All
we
right,
can have
turn it
both.
down.
Yeah, okay, sure.
I kind of like having both.
Okay.
I like it
I'll
when
give the verbal response, and Hardy can.
Nah. You may do whatever you want verbally after the trombone.
Sure,
Okay.
certainly.
All right.
And we can have the trombone ready for next week.
Yeah. That's how I like it when you
Okay.
say yay or nay to these kind of things.
How bizarre. This is from Meet Boston, by the way. MeetBoston.com.
Oh, I love that song.
How bizarre. OMD, yeah.
Oh my God, that's such a good song.
Chevy 69. How bizarre.
I loved it every time that came on
So good.
on when I worked at the half off card shop. I didn't want to
Yes.
strangle everyone.
That and My Own Worst Enemy by Lit. Wasn't that the other one that they used to
I didn't
play?
mind that song. Have you ever really loved a woman? You got turn it down a little bit more, Adam. I'm sorry.
No, it's
I don't know why I don't have control of any of this.
Pull in for some gas. Sound like Marvin the Martian.
How bizarre.
All right, how bizarre. Dead of winter vendor market. Over 50 small local businesses are popping up on the Charles River Speedway in Boston to sell all kinds of wicked, weird, and witchy wares.
What maniac would go there in this weather? All right, go ahead. Right on the windy river.
Fred!
I'm sorry.
How bizarre is an expanded oddities extravaganza? A sensational selection of the boldly bizarre and mystically magical.
Yeah.
Adam 12 going to go?
Of course, it's free.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's as free as it
12!
gets.
It's on. Yes.
He is
I'm
going.
in.
Right,
I'm
there
in the
you go.
mood. You see?
How could they charge you to go in the winter to outdoor vendors?
I'm sorry, you can't get in. We need $50.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to buy this garbage, you're going to have to give me a lot of money.
What about
before.
the Tunnel of Love? Witness a dazzling display of lights, the Tunnel of Love at Christopher Columbus Park during the month of February.
Okay, that's iffy. Do you have to pay to get someone to get your car into the park? I'm not familiar with Christopher Columbus Park. If that's well, you would be, Adam. Is that
I am too, because I lived downtown for a few months.
Yeah.
Is that a state park? Is that a city park?
I'm sorry. Where is this again? This is down in the North End?
You just said you were familiar with it.
No, but
You're lying to me then, or you're lying to me now?
No, I realized you had said Christopher Columbus Park, and I was thinking of Lars Anderson Park, which you're not talking about. So.
No, that's in Brookline.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So.
Christopher Columbus Park.
Yes.
Okay, because this is a little strange because they could ask you for money to get into the park to drive around. You know what? I'm going to side on that there's a small fee.
Christopher Columbus Park, that's over by the Marriott Long Wharf, I think, right? So there's no driving, there's no parking there at all.
Oh.
He's going, baby. It's absolutely free. Not only if you go into a couple of restaurants, the Marriott Waterline restaurant.
The exterior shots for 227.
Oh, then he's
Is
in.
Adam 12 going?
Oh, he's in. Oh, yeah.
No, that
The
costs money.
227.
You are incorrect, Fred.
Oh. Let's go, Adam.
Yeah,
That
dude,
is
you
a
had me
free
at
tour.
You had me at walking tour.
All right.
Oh, yeah, you had African American.
All right, what did you want to plug in?
Well, one thing that I am planning on doing is the annual Ice Cream for Breakfast Day, which is at Cherry Farm Creamery in Beverly. You can go tomorrow morning starting at 8, and you can have ice cream for breakfast. And some of the proceeds benefit Beverly Bootstraps, which is a great organization up there. So, you know what song this is, Fred?
No.
King of Rock, Run DMC.
It's Misty.
Oh,
Play Misty for me.
okay.
Are you going to the ice cream for breakfast thing?
Yeah, I'm going to Tenny Mountain tomorrow. I'll probably hit it on the way up.
What's Tenny Mountain?
It's a ski area in New Hampshire.
They advertise on this radio station.
Oh, then I would go too.
Going snowboarding.
My son's going to Stowe. I wonder if he can find a place to stay. He's going to ski.
First time?
Nah.
Has he been before? Yeah?
Yeah, but he doesn't know how to do it so well. And he's going to get convinced to go to the top of one of them mountains.
You should give him a little money and tell him to take a half-day lesson. Skill him up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, he'll do that. That's what he'll want to do, is hear someone tell him what to do. Yeah, he'll get right on it.
As long as it's not you.
Here, know what we're doing this weekend?
He listens to me.
You're going to take a lesson.
Right. Yeah.
No, Milo listens to me. But it's a lot of work, but I have gotten him to listen to me. I now know how to talk to him.
Nice.
But to get him into a class, no. That's not going to happen.
My kids hated that too.
All right, that'll do it for us. What a weekend in store. What fun to be had. Everyone support the Bootstrap charity that Adam is so fond of. And that'll do it.